For those of you who come with curiosities, with questions, heed the warning, you should beware. For those of you who come in search of fright and scares, fear not, for there are plenty to share. Now as the feeling trickles down your spine, and your heart begins to race and your mind resides, close your eyes, step forth, and embrace the chill, as the wind dies down and the air grows still. Now you find yourself at the gate, and you realize there's no escape. Once you've crossed the domain, you found yourself playing a creeper's game. Let yourself sink, the time is just right, for there's a lesson to learn in Ghoul School tonight. Welcome to Ghoul School, class. Welcome all.
Are you feeling creepy, RJ?
Can you elaborate on what you mean by that?
I mean, watching dozens of films about, ghouls and goblins, the occasional creep. I mean, it's got to have some sort of psychological effect on you. Do you feeling creepy?
Well, I did hear that there was a survey done that said that there was a survey done that people who frequently watch horror films had better mental health during the pandemic, Jarrett.
Fascinating. Tell
So
me more.
well, that if you're looking at for effects that horror films have, I think it conditions your body to be in a constant state of readiness, and you're more.
You might wind up a talking head on a Netflix, a Shudder exclusive documentary about horror.
Like this?
That's
Do you think they would ever pull you and me on that? And they'd be like, "What do you guys think?" And we'd say, "Well, have you seen the Willies?"
I think you would often just go, "All right, all
All
right."
right,
Yeah, that's your mantra.
all right, all right.
What would be your critic name? Walton Fenwick.
Goggins,
Walton
Walton
Fenwick.
Goggins, Fenwick. And you were Rupert Blum, or
Yeah.
Plum? Rupert Plum.
Rupert Plum. No,
Clump
close
works
to
too.
Rupert Pumpkin. Very close.
Oh,
Not to be confused with Garrot.
Garrett Pumpkin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's
No.
Garrett Pumpkins out there. There's Chudwokes
Or
out there.
Carrot Pumpkin, as some might say.
Someone who's really into carotenoids, hey? You know, the orange pigment. You know about orange pigment.
I know about
Everyone's
orange.
seen that Magic School Bus. Yeah, I'm feeling particularly creepy. The weather is just right, I would say.
We've been getting some weird swings a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like 29 degrees the other day, and now it's down to 13 and rain. So I don't know.
Well, it's fucking Al Gore. It's his fault.
Always.
Well, he
Never
invented the climate change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's how it went.
How was your turkey celebration this weekend?
It was pretty good. It was very low key, I guess is what the kids say. Had one on Andrew's side. It was good. Had one on my side. It was very quiet. Not everyone could attend. So but that was nice. It was more food for me.
More pumpkin pie.
Yeah, so did you see that picture of my pumpkin pie with my whipped cream ratios?
Yeah.
The foods and snacks.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, are you okay with
that? That was a dollop of whipped cream, and we've talked about this last year.
Yes, we have.
This was apparently a point of controversy.
Yes, it was.
I could give or take whipped cream on my pumpkin pie. I like the just it by itself, without. But yeah, you seem to be. This is the pumpkin pie is an excuse for the whipped cream.
It's much like how you enjoy some ham with your mustard, I believe.
Right, correct.
Yeah. Did you have a ham this weekend, Jarrett?
It was turkey. Turkey was back on the menu. It had been a while.
Really? not turkey and ham. I guess maybe your
No.
family's not as big as. So like we always have both, but it's because we have like 30 people at the
Right.
event.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, it was just it was a giant bird.
interesting. And did you get some enjoyment out of it, or are you still anti Thanksgiving?
I don't know. It was nice to have stuffing and turkey, I guess, again after a bit of a layover. But
Mhm.
I will say that I'm still extremely underwhelmed by the white meat of turkey.
So you're a dark meat man.
I am 100%. I'm a dark meat man when it comes to chicken, all fowl.
Dating?
I guess. What?
Said dating. Dark meat, just like your
with
coffees.
yeah,
Yeah.
my definitely my food or
Yep.
my birds.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
are you a duck guy? Do you like duck? That's a red meat.
No,
I don't think duck falls under poultry. I think it's like a.
it's different. It's a different kind of bird.
I honestly think it is. I think it's like a red meat that like you can eat duck like a little bit rare. Like it's not like a chicken. You're not gonna get salmonella. Now I could be wrong, Jarrett.
I don't know if you're right. That's for sure.
I'm not gonna look it up. But when we
No.
have emails in a month, someone can tell me. But I'm pretty sure duck is considered like a red meat.
Sure, I don't know.
Even though it is a fat flying bird.
It's not gray meat.
Well, I mean, there's the white meat and there's the other white meat. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
People.
Whatever that means.
People.
People.
Well, that's good. That's good. What kind of dessert did you have? Pumpkin pie or something else?
Yeah, pumpkin pie and apple pie.
Interesting. Interesting. Did you have a little ice cream with that apple pie?
Well, ice cream was demanded, so ice cream was received by those who needed it. I've never
Straight vanilla?
No, it was
Maple crunch?
one of my old favorites I hadn't actually had for a while, but it's like Chapman's caramel praline. Pretty good.
Well, pralines would pair with the apple pie.
No, it's good, and I mean, caramel goes with everything.
Does it?
Everything.
What about duck?
Especially with duck, the red meat. The other red meat.
Should I look this up?
Caramel is my favorite meat.
Is duck red meat? In other words, duck meat may be dark, but it's not scientifically classified as red. Since duck is classified as poultry, it's scientifically considered a white meat. However,
Right.
it has a darker color than most cuts of chicken and turkey. Interesting.
Interesting. Huge if true.
But it also says here it is considered a red meat by culinary standards. So I guess chefs are just like, whatever, we're just not going to cook duck. We don't give a shit.
Is that what that means? You just
Yeah.
You do cook red meat, RJ.
Yeah, but I mean, chicken, you got to make sure it's cooked. You're not going to serve it raw, you know?
Well, no, of course not. But I'm sure there's some people they really like it on the pink side.
Which side?
The pink side, RJ.
Oh, okay.
Little undercooked.
Okay.
A little chewy.
Oh, the other red meat.
No, the other red
Interesting.
meat.
So you had a terrific Thanksgiving, hey Jarrett.
It was good, yes.
Some have asked what Canadians have to be thankful for. Do you know what I mean?
Some might.
I mean, we didn't have Plymouth Rock. That wasn't us.
A Plymouth Rock.
That wasn't us.
We have the Lawrence River.
Lawrence Krychek we have?
Krychek. Yeah, we do have a Lawrence Krychek as well.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, we're off to a great start.
Outstanding. This is Ghoul School, folks.
Oh yeah, what does that mean?
Well, we're the Criterion Creeps. This is our school. Very well appointed.
Mm-hmm.
Bush League school.
Oh, interesting.
Yep, and we're going to talk about the movies that we watched. And lots. Many movies. Horror movies. It's our excuse to watch movies that are not Criterions, that we've just learned to hate.
Wow.
And hold in contempt. Even when they're good, they're probably bad.
It's not our fault, it's theirs.
But horror movies, man, the bar's so low, there's no expectations. People talk about horror movies, I think, fairly honestly. These
Mm-hmm.
Criterions, though, people like to deceive themselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what
There's
people don't deceive themselves about?
what?
Movies like Primal Rage. People tell it like it is.
They tell it like it is.
You ever heard anyone lying to themselves about Primal Rage?
I have
You
not.
say, well, Bigfoot's motivation for this one is a little bit misunderstood. If you know what
Is that where you want to start off with? I gotta pull up your
No.
list. Let me pull up your list, RJ.
Well,
Yeah, I know you. This is a good point. I need to
I
pull up your list.
I absolutely have less than you do. So
But
I
you have a
think
lot.
it
Hey,
is.
you're doing very well this year. I gotta say, there's been days where I'm like,
Wow.
geez, Louise, what is he doing? He's put down 5 movies on a Friday on a half day from Pizza Hut.
Well, the Pizza Hut gets out early, and Andy was busy one day, so
Yeah.
those 90-minute affairs they go down rather smooth, Jarrett.
Oh yeah, I know. 90 minutes is the magic number, and boy,
Yeah.
God help you when you violate the 90-minute rule.
Uh,
In
once
Creeptober. Ooh.
once in a while, though, you hit something that's possibly 2 hours, sometimes more than 2 hours, Jarrett.
Sometimes one decides to watch a TV movie. It appears. Of a.
Yeah, but it
I want to hear you talk about that so much
okay.
because this is that's a
Yeah.
movie I have only ever experienced from afar because I remember when they were advertising the shit out of it
Sure.
on TV and be like, oh man, that's gonna be too scary for me in 1995.
I'm
It's
sure it
like, well,
was.
yeah, 12-year-old Jarrett, he wasn't
Yeah.
ready for that movie that we'll talk about.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, I have a good chunk started so far in my list, but I will mention, as you've pointed out before, I do have a weekend of coitus interruptus. You know what I mean?
Whoa.
Where like that's the word for watching movies, right?
Apparently now it is.
Inter- interruptus, where my basically full days are blocked out, and I'll be lucky to get one, maybe 1.5. So I did make a good rip at it, but it's because I'm anticipating delays.
Well, you're at what, 29?
Yeah, because 2 of the movies in my list I've seen before, and they're just in there in case Andy wants to watch them, which are Scooby Doo and My Boyfriend's Back.
Right.
So yeah, I'm at 29, and we talked about like 5 or 6 of those last week.
That's
But,
true.
but I do feel like you have many more than me. So
Well,
if you want to start, you can.
Sure, I guess so. Where to begin? Because we jumped around quite a bit. I've talked about these short films. I mean, these lists, by the way, folks, if you're tuning in for the very first time to a Ghoul School, listen to us ramble on about coitus.
About what?
We've got let's see here on Letterboxd. My top list should be 31 Days of Horror 2023, and RJ's is Creeptober 2023. We've been doing this a very long time now.
Well, next year it's gonna be the 10 years of Creeptober. It's gonna be a special one.
Holy shit!
That's right.
By then we'll run out of good new movies to watch. Entirely.
No, never.
Well, we'll find out. So we talked about Heavy Metal Massacre last week during our Days of Heaven episode. I talked about The Dark, a few short films. You can find out all about Havoc, Crying Havoc, and the great works of Robert Bronzi and Rene Perez.
Great indeed.
The earlier, probably the best thing I watched in the first volley for me was Curve, a short film, which I would also recommend. It's short, easy to watch, 10 minutes.
Ooh.
Perfect. That's all you need. Then I don't know if I really talked about horror noir much. That's the
no,
the Shudder documentary on
how long was that?
That was
like 3
83 minutes, and that's one of the problems. It's very short and to the point. Yeah, I mean it's just a documentary about the history of black horror, basically African Americans in horror films and their place and the rise of it. It seems to be like a real centered around one person.
Is it a current day person or is it?
It is a current day person.
I would guess, but I feel like that might be.
I feel like you can definitely 100% guess who this is. That this is essentially
Tony Todd.
No, well, Tony Todd shows up.
Is it a filmmaker though? Current day?
Filmmaker. Oh,
Is it
so they
Jordan
actually
Peele?
have. Sure it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
Jordan Peele changed the game with Get
I'm
Out.
sure.
It's Oscar. He won an Oscar.
What did that win an Oscar for?
Wasn't it best screenplay or did he get nominated?
Oh, I don't know. I
He won a
mean,
bunch of. Yeah, he actually won awards. Like,
well, it was a good
that's
movie. It is
yeah.
a good movie.
It is. It's the best thing he's done. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, yeah, everyone kind of shows up in this. You get like Ernest Dickerson talking a bit. Ken Foray, from everyone's favorite Dawn of the Dead.
Tony Todd, Keith David.
Keith David and Ken Foray hang out, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing where they're in a theater watching footage on the screen and then just talking about it. And being like growing up, what their like role models were, that sort of thing. It's kind of a fluff movie. It's fine.
Yep.
It could probably, I don't know what you would do differently. But maybe more stuff. I mean, just compared to like some of the other documentaries I've seen, like about like exploitation stuff, the Australian exploitation genre. But I think there's just like so much there. But this just seemed maybe there's just not enough to pull in out of. Because there's not that much. But
Is Pam Grier in this?
For
exploitation
she is talked about, but she's not in this. She's not interviewed. It's just archive footage for her. Same with like Jim Kelly or something like that. But yeah, a lot of talk about Blackula and Scream, Blackula Scream, which is awesome because I love the Blackula movies are awesome. They also talk about how terrible Blackenstein is though, because that movie fucking terrible.
Blackula is good though.
Yes.
I've had interest in this, but I always assumed it was like 3 hours long, and
it's
apparently
super
it's
short.
not.
Yeah, I always like to throw some documentaries in, horror movie related.
There's lots on Shudder.
There is. This is the one that has been. When did this come out? It was like 2019. Okay.
I was gonna say within the last 5 years.
It was kicking around for a bit. I think it was Kickstarter too, maybe. I might be confusing my documentary. I think lots of documentaries are Kickstarter now. But now it lives on Shudder. There it is.
It's a good place for it.
I watched a movie that has the word creep in it. The Creeping Flesh.
You didn't start with that though?
I did not. I didn't think of it. And then I was like, oh, I'll throw this on. This is on Tubi or YouTube. One of the two. It was free. Freddie Francis. This movie's got Peter Cushing in it and Christopher Lee, and a giant skeleton.
All good things.
This movie's about science. Here's the description of it and the tagline first. A terrifying journey through the nightmare worlds of evil, insanity, and terrible revenge.
Sounds cool.
A scientist comes to believe that evil is a disease of the blood and that the flesh of a skeleton he has brought back from New Guinea contains it in a pure form. That's right, RJ. This giant skeleton contains in its bones blood of pure evil.
I don't doubt that at all.
Convinced that his wife, a dancer who went insane, manifested this evil, he is terrified that it will be passed on to their daughter. He tries to use the skeleton's blood to immunize her against this eventuality, but his attempt has anything but the desired result. There comes a part in this where you have a 10-foot tall skeleton wrapped in a black robe chasing Peter Cushing around. That part's pretty neat. This is some classic British estate horror, where it's a period piece. There's a dude just lives out in the country, and he's got a daughter, and he's doing crazy horror stuff in his place. And he's going where he shouldn't. Meddling in God's affairs.
Yeah.
No,
I've been there.
It's magazine viewing, RJ. At the end of the day.
Oh, I like a good magazine movie.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
But nothing to write home about.
Well, they can't all be winners.
That's right. I also checked out a movie that has yet to still come out on, I think, DVD or Blu-ray called Demon Warp, starring George Kennedy for a little bit, and then a bunch of jobbers you've never heard of.
Yeah.
This is another fine piece of Evil Dead, sort of like teenager men and women go to the woods, and there's forces. This one involves it tricks you thinking, well, it leads you to believe that you're dealing with a Bigfoot, but it's like an alien Bigfoot. But
Oh,
it's not as cool as it sounds. And
yeah.
there's dream sequences and then endings upon endings that just kind of don't go anywhere. Uh,
Mhm.
this didn't really get my attention fully, but I don't know. It's got a cool title. It's got a cool poster,
I
but
like
I don't know.
Bigfoots
You like
and
Bigfoots?
I like aliens, but
Yeah.
I don't.
But yeah, and also too with like creeping flash. Yeah, so yeah, Demon Warp has like a double fake out dream ending. Not a
Hmm.
fan of those.
Yeah.
Creeping Flesh also does the. He's always crazy, and
There's something
that's
else
good.
that had a double fake out that we I can't remember. Doesn't matter.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Doesn't matter.
Some short films. My Little Goat, from 2018. This is like 10 minutes long. It's Japanese
Hmm.
stop motion animation. This one's about dealing with trauma. RJ.
Is there any animal violence in it?
Well, it's all like little puppets, little
Still,
little,
they
little
had
like
little puppet mothers.
little
Yeah,
lambs being eaten by a wolf, being saved by their wolf mom. But then
true.
it turns out it's a coping mechanism. It's a metaphor about
Hmm.
abuse. It looks
Yeah.
cool, but
Does it?
it does. Yeah,
Mm.
they did a very the filmmakers did a really good job putting it together. But I think there's some storytelling stuff that I was like, what's going on?
Mhm.
Or like I'm like, oh, geez, that seems very clear what's going on all of a sudden, and then it kind of goes back and you go, I don't know. This looks cool, but I feel like it might have need a little bit more work in the writing phase. I feel,
A little bit
but
more oomph.
a little something maybe. I also watched a. This was apparently I didn't know this because I was looking at another list and they popped up, and I saw a certain member of the Criterion creeps had seen this several years
Huh.
ago. An animated film called "There's a Man in the Woods."
Oh,
You
oh.
you gave this 4 stars.
When did I
Uh,
watch this?
you watched this September 4th, 2016.
Holy shit.
It was a Sunday.
So almost 8 years ago. Was it any good still, or is it
You
shit?
gave it's okay.
I mean, you got to 2016. You and me were probably rating things pretty aggressively.
More generously.
Yeah,
It's
I kind of remember
fine.
it, but
I think this is like might have been like a high school project. So I mean,
mm,
in terms of that scope, like this is pretty well done. Um,
yeah, I
but
recognize the poster. I just can't remember the short.
so what it is it's about this teacher and
Yeah.
he's got in his class he's got this piece of shit kid, and
Mm,
piece of shit kids wants to get all these flowers or whatever berries for himself, and he
mhm,
keeps saying there's a man in the woods, which freaks everybody out. And what
mhm,
happens is the teacher's like, well, this kid's full of shit, but some real Karens start complaining, saying that this
mm,
teacher wasn't doing their job and
mhm,
protecting the kids because there was a man in the woods and he didn't tell them to stay away from the woods, even though there is no one in the woods because it's lying, but
mhm.
nobody knows that. And this guy loses his job, and in creating this tale of there's a man in the
Uh,
woods, the man
mhm.
who loses his job becomes the man in the woods, and I guess is going to
Classic.
violently kill this child after the credits roll. That and RJ said, I want to give this 4 stars.
Classic. We've
Yeah, he
all
loved.
been there.
Yeah, exactly.
We've all been there, buddy.
Yeah. And speaking of RJ picks, so here's one. So RJ, when did you watch the Plague of the Zombies?
Oh god.
And you
That was
gave it
probably like 6 or 7 years ago also.
you watched it on Halloween 2014. So, so 9 years ago. Nine. Do you remember the Plague of the Zombies?
I remember people busting out of graves, and that's about it. I don't remember a whole lot of it.
So I don't know, maybe you went into this with odd expectations, like having no
Hmm.
clue what the Plague of the Zombies was. I had no idea either. So this is a Hammer film,
Yeah, yep. Yep.
and the coolest thing I remember about this now, because it's been 10 days or something like that since I watched
It's
it,
eternity.
but that's a lot of movies ago. This movie's got really cool looking cultists. Like
Hmm.
their masks are awesome, and again, British estate stuff where it's like this vague, nebulous time in the past, when you have lords and sons of lords who are
Hmm.
going around hunting foxes. So they're real jerk offs.
Hmm.
But they also also hunt women. And like
Sure they
and
do.
they see some lady, they start running. They're riding around on horses in their red jackets, and they grab the woman who's the daughter of the main character in this, who gets
Mm-hmm.
called upon because of mysterious happenings
Mm-hmm.
that are occurring. And I start blurring Creeping Flesh and Plague of the Zombies already because these houses, these estates always look the exact same,
Mm-hmm.
very British, and so but this anyway, so there's like some real implications that something's bad's going to happen to this girl. But then
Mm-hmm.
one of the guys, his dad, shows up, admonishes them, saying, "You sick fucks, what are you doing this for? You should know better."
Mm-hmm.
Little, but I think he's like, "Well, you're all right," and he's trying to be all normal and like presenting well, but as inevitably you'd be figuring out, you're like, well, what happened to those cool cultists we saw at the beginning with the sick masks? You're like, well, of course the lords are the part of the cult, and they're running the cult at their place. And what
Mm-hmm.
do cultists do? Well, they're animating zombies, like from
Of
the
course.
local people dying in the graves, and they're having them do manual labor at the basement.
Mm.
And
Classic.
it's like cool. I mean, it's like zombies.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, stuff, and it's entertaining enough. Again,
Sure.
background viewing, cool visuals.
Yeah. Perhaps
Um,
I was too harsh on it, but I just looked and I watched this movie sandwiched right between movies like Scanners, The Devil Rides Out,
mm,
Texas Chainsaw, In the Mouth of Madness. So
whoa,
yeah, that was the rip I had in 2014. So
yeah,
perhaps I was too harsh, but compared to what I was watching,
yeah. Now I think you'd bump that up a half star.
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take my star ratings out of there. I'll give it another shot one year.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
One more I'll talk about, then I'll hand it off to you.
Oh,
Are you familiar with a film called Ghost Stories from 2017?
I feel like I am, but I don't remember why.
Are you familiar with Martin Freeman,
Oh,
aka Bilbo, aka
Bilbo Baggins,
Tim from The Office, not Jim. Tim.
aka some character in the Black Panther movies or something, right?
Yes, or something. Yeah, he's a guy. Everyone knows
Okay,
Martin Freeman now.
sure they do now.
He's everywhere, and so
Yeah.
he showed up. He because he's everywhere. He's also in Ghost Stories, which is directed by and starring a guy named Andy Nyman,
Of course it is.
who I don't really know. I've seen eight. Sorry, I've seen 8 things with him.
Oh, jeez.
I could not tell you why
Mm-hmm.
or what those things were, but there he was. So anyway, so this is an anthology film.
Yeah, I mean,
I
ghost
don't know.
stories.
I don't even know why. I think I was looking up like a list and was like, here's some great horror anthologies you haven't seen, and I'd seen almost all of them except
Mm-hmm.
for 4, and this was one of those. And I was like, oh, hey, look at that! It's on Tubi. of course I'll
What isn't?
Of course, I'll give Ghost Stories a shot. I think
Mm-hmm.
it was. I don't know if it was for sure. It might have been Prime or something. But anyway, I was like,
Yeah.
sure, let's see what this is all about. So it starts off like a kind of a found footage thing happening where there is a psychologist, paranormal investigator who wants to catch out frauds. And
Yeah.
so it's like him showing up to one person's show and explaining how it's done, and the person goes, "Oh, curse you for undoing me, unhand me." Of course, I'm legitimate. So anyway,
Mm-hmm.
his inspiration is this man who uh, who did this thing back in the 70s, but
Mm-hmm.
then that all changed, and he kind of dropped out and just disappeared. But then one day he's contacted or something. He comes up again. He resurfaces, and he's like, "The reason why I quit is because, in fact, there was 3 cases that convinced me that ghosts were real." And he's being told this by
Ooh.
like this old man, but it's like a young man in old man makeup. And I was like,
Sick.
I didn't really care about looking up who it was because I knew it would be revealed eventually. So I was like, okay, let's see where this goes. And so we follow, I guess it's Andy Nyman, Professor Goodman,
Mm.
Goodman.
Mm-hmm.
He goes and checks in with a security guard, working for this like I don't know underground building. And it's just like, oh, he tells a story about seeing this like creepy child and him wandering around in the dark. being cornered in a room, and then the professor goes and visits a priest, and the priest goes, "Well, of course it was real because he found God after." It's like you're like, okay, where's the irrefutable proof? Like it's just like
Right there.
here's some statements. It's like, what is this? And then we get to the next one, which is the probably the best part of this, where it's like this kid who lives in this weird house with weird dejected parents, and he's got all this stuff with demons, like devils on the wall, like medieval carvings of devils. And there's this story about this kid who hadn't told his parents he had failed getting his driver's license on the first try, but he still takes the car out one night. And while he's driving out one night, he has a hit and run style collision with a devil. Like, and it's like a full on like little devil. Yeah, it's totally like, oh, if you imagine those woodcuts, that's what he hits. And then I don't know, there's some cool little bits in the woods. The little devil getting into the back seat, wanting to hang out, and then it kind of just wraps up, and you're like, okay, like where's this going? And again, you're like, whoa, where's the closure in this? And then he goes and hangs out with Martin Freeman for a little bit, who's another like English lordy type, flat caps and mud boots out in some grassy place like the moors or something. And he tells a story about his like a baby ghost, like some sort of poltergeist in his like modernist home, throwing books around, and his wife being dead. And then there's a scene, I recorded this. I was going to post it on the Discord.
The what?
The Discord?
What's that?
Why, RJ is one of the fastest growing social media platforms in the world today.
Oh, really? Wow.
And you, for $1, pay it up on Patreon, you can get onto the Discord and follow along with all the sweet horror action that's going on right now.
A lot of screenshots.
So much screenshot action. And
a lot of screenshots.
Jared giving sports predictions. Really, on the first and last source for sports.
Well, that is accurate, but lots of good screenshots.
Like Martin Freeman, who this is scene, he like looks over out of nowhere and he sees something, and then he just puts his shotgun he's had with him and blows his head off. But this is like done. It's like a CGI thing where he blows his head off, but then his body goes like flying up and over this hill. And
I mean, that's cool.
It's like, but it looks so goofy. And then you're like, well, where's this movie going? And then so our boy goes back to visit the old man, and then the old man tears his face off and reveals it's Martin Freeman. And then it's like, what's going on? Reality isn't what I think it is. And spoilers, it all takes place in a comatose man's head.
Get the fuck out of here. They can't keep doing that to us.
I want to fuck. It's the worst. I fucking hate it. And it's for nothing. And then it's like the three characters that he just like had these experiences with. They're all like attendants at the hospital. Like, so that Mark Freeman's a doctor. He's like an asshole. It's like played for the laughs. And then I think the security guard is a caretaker. And then the kid with the car accident was just like an attendant at the hospital. And that's it. And it's like, oh, 2 stars. Just like, nope. Not worth your time, folks. Don't watch Ghost Stories. It sucks. I hate it. It's like it inflames me. It's just like, no. Waste my time.
I mean, that's a Jared pick for you.
That's a Jared pick. That's like the essential of a Jared pick right there.
That is. It's got all your hallmarks.
Yeah. All of them. Martin Freeman.
It
all takes place in
multiple
the guy's
personality
head.
Syndrome. Yeah.
But it's like not even multi-personality. It's just like, oh, it's in a coma dream. And let me tell you, I've got another one later on that's the exact same thing.
Has it got John Cusack in
it? Better. It's got the 2 Bills. Find out later, folks.
Bill Pullman and Bill Paxton?
Correct.
Holy shit.
2 Bills for the price of 1.
Billy P.
Free on Tubi in full frame.
What's not on Tubi? So Ghoul School, somebody out there contact Tubi that we are giving them the ultimate press for 1 month a year. This is Tubi Central because I think like 80% of my movies were from Tubi.
They're like the depth of the horror selection is so good.
It's incredible.
Like it's solid.
And I will stand up for Tubi any day of the week because like people will be like, well, there's commercials. It's like, yeah, like one every 30 minutes, and they're like 20 seconds long. Like they barely have any commercials.
Barely, yeah, it's very. And sometimes at the very end there'll be like this home stretch point where they dump 5 at you in a row, and that's it.
Yeah,
and you're like,
yeah,
that seems reasonable.
Yeah, you're like, here. This is now Tubi telling me, hey, get up to go to the bathroom. This is your opportunity. And you know what I really like about Tubi? The commercials are planned by like a human because it's always at the end of a scene. It doesn't just cut in somewhere. It's always like it'll be like ad starting in 6 seconds, and it'll be like when the scene is ending, and then the scene's over, and then when the commercial break, it's a new scene, and then you don't feel like you're lost or anything, you know?
So what kind of movies have you been watching on Tubi, RJ?
Holy shit. Not this one. I watched Deborah Logan. That's not on Tubi.
I believe that's on
It's like
the Shudder.
It's like that 80% of what I watched was Tubi. The next 4 in a row were on Tubi. But I watched a Jarrett pick, a real genuine one.
Well, this is
you're a big fan, right?
This is a lawsuit. You can't be calling certain things Jarrett picks when they are most assuredly not.
I never said that you thought they were good.
Mm.
That's not what pick means.
Oh, it is.
Movie I'm associating with you.
That's absolutely what a Jarrett picks is.
Association.
Yeah, it's got to get the the endorsement. This does not have an endorsement from me.
No, I disagree. So here's why this is a Jarrett pick. It's a found footage movie that everyone loves.
People love this movie.
Yeah,
it's got on Letterboxd, it's got a 3.0. That's pretty decent for a horror movie.
Yeah. So here's what I'll say. Like, it does some things better than I expected. Like, it's got some found footage things where it's like, I was like, that wasn't quite what I thought. It kind of avoids some of the trappings where, like at certain points, they're like, hey, put the camera down and help us. And then the guy actually will. He'll put the camera down and he'll go help him. And I went, such a small thing, but that's interesting. Or I don't know. There were a few things that I was like, oh, that was handled well. But then some of the movie too, you're kind of like, well, not the best. I don't know. I think this is I gave it a 2.5, but I think people could give this a 3 and be like, I'm not saying it's great, but I'm saying it's okay. Here's the thing. Deborah Logan is it's a science spiritual hybrid thing. So it's like the first half an hour of this, I think is actually pretty good, where it's just like, hey, Alzheimer's is a disease that destroys people and everything they are. And you're just like, oh man, that sucks. And then it turns into, quote, spiritual parasites. And I went, oh? So this is, it turns Alzheimer's, which is a real thing, into a possession thing. And I went, all right.
What about dementia?
And dementia. That could work too. I didn't think about that, but
wow.
I wasn't on top of it. But there's other things too where it's like kind of goofy. Like some of the found footage, there's some scenes where Deborah Logan's stealing kids from hospitals and she's in the basement and all the hospital people have flashlights and it's like, turn the lights on. It's like you're in a working hospital. Nothing's happened to the hospital, just turn the lights on. But all the lights are out for some reason, you're like, that's bizarre. So anyways, it's they're making an Alzheimer's documentary and then they really try to convince you that they did a lot of research in Alzheimer's. So they're talking about like amyloid deposits. Now I know what that is, Jarrett.
Yeah.
Because I was involved in a study of that for a brief part of my life, and I was like, oh,
a hot minute.
I was like, interesting. And then they talk about misfiring synapses, and I was just like, all right, I see what they're going for here. But then they like try to do that, but then there's things it's like you didn't look at the hard details, did you? So like one of them, there's a guy in here named Desjardins, and they pronounce it Desjardins, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, do they not know what French is? Have you ever heard of that? Have you ever heard anyone pronounce Desjardins as Desjardins?
I don't know. Are we sure that
It's
that
Desjardins. I know, like, I've met a lot of them in my life.
there could be others?
No, there's not. I'm just trust me. It is the only ones there is. I don't know. Deborah Logan's like, it's got some stuff that's okay, like naked women just kind of like walking around in the background. You're like, that's all well and good, but then there is some stuff you're like, I don't know. I've seen this many times in other movies, so I see why you don't like it. I can kind of see why people are fans of it, but I don't really I can't really see why anyone would be a really big fan of it. You know, it's like it's not like that. Don't get too hot and excited. You know what I mean, Jer? So I don't know. Out of the found footage stuff I've watched this month, it's pretty much par for the course for me. For what I've been seeing lately.
All I remember about this, based on my notes, is there's a lot of jump scares, and there's musical cues on them.
Oh yes,
and this is like really
goes
actually
against found footage.
And this is truly trying to be a found footage film. It's not like a after the like. So there's like your Hell Houses, where it is a documentary that is using found footage.
We have recovered the footage.
Yeah, yes, this is trying to be that, and it'd be like, why would they make a found footage film with an original score?
Yeah,
and that's there. And then the technical glitches. As a person that's like interested in the medium, like the actual, like, what does 8mm look like? What does 16mm look like? What do like this and
digital?
I don't know if we're going to talk about VHS 85.
I have not seen it yet.
We could talk about. I'll just say
I will soon.
It's not great, not great. And one of the sins it commits is in one of the short films. It is very clearly trying to like use just like straight up digital footage and then make it look like with a filter.
Yeah,
like 1985, and it's so trash. And the other one's actually shot with tape, like with like old tapes and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, cool, I appreciate this.
I dislike that a lot. Like when they try to make it look old and grainy, it's like,
but the footage, but it doesn't look right.
That's too bad because last year they had an incredible VHS. I guess they can't all be winners.
No.
But...
Yeah, this one they just decided, fuck it.
Yeah. So I do understand what you mean. Yeah, like Deborah Logan does have it's got like little glitches like and then it does have music things, but yeah, it is like it's supposed to be like documentarians went to film this. It's like this is the recovered footage, and you go, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, that's Deborah Logan, and then I watched Frightmare. Jarrett, you ever seen Frightmare?
I have.
It's a trauma film.
Yeah, I don't remember anything about it though.
So it's
refresh my memory.
It's like a weekend at Bernie's, but with like the body actually comes back to life, and then it's like you bastards.
That's wild.
So Frightmare,
I gave this 2 stars.
I think I gave it a 2.5, maybe. If I rated it at all, it would have been a 2.5. But it's kind of like there's a Christopher Lee type. He's like he looks. It's almost like they're like we can't get Christopher Lee. Let's just get someone who's like close enough. So he's like a horror icon guy, and he's like filming things, but he's kind of evil. Someone like makes fun of him, and he like pushes them down a staircase and stuff, and you're like, oh, he's kind of evil. And then he dies, and then you see like this big outpour of like college kids and fans that are like, oh, we love your like cheesy old horror movies and stuff. And he's like, they're not cheesy. He's like, I worked very hard on these films. And you're just like, all right. But he dies, and then he's like, everyone is invited to my mansion for a party after I'm dead. And the kids are like, oh yeah, nice. So they go and they have a party, and then they leave. And then the high school kids or college kids are like, hey, let's go back. Let's dig up. Let's break his body out of the tomb. And then they're like, yeah, that sounds great. So they go, great. And it's actually like, it's not played like as grotesque, but like there is a scene where they prop his body up at the dinner table, and they're all there eating spaghetti, and it's like ludicrously exaggerated. They're like, argh! And they're like piling spaghetti on their heads and stuff, and there's just a dead body in the corner. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I like that. I was like, I'm on board for that. Whatever that is, I'm kind of into that. So that's like the weekend of Bernie's part. And then when they try to put the body back, it engages a trap, and a video of him comes on, and he's like, couldn't help yourselves, could you? You just had to come back, didn't you? And then it kind of like clicks in all these traps everywhere, and then he comes back as like a zombie kind of, and then he like gets them and stuff like that. It's not a great movie, but
The
I did
poster's
like
awesome.
the poster's awesome. The name is awesome. I really liked in the spaghetti dinner scene. Like it is kind of like when I was watching, it was like it's kind of morbid. It's a little grotesque. But they're
Mhm.
also drinking Coors Banquet, and I thought that was kind of interesting. I was like,
Mm.
you don't see Coors Banquet a lot in movies, so that's kind of cool.
That's true.
And Jeffrey Combs is in this.
Yes, Wayun.
Wayun himself, Coombs. And there's a really cool scene with him, like spoilers, but he gets buried alive, and then a crow starts eating his head, but it's like his actual head because he's a professional, and he's like and there's like a real crow pecking his head, and I was just like, oh, Coombs, you're crazy, man. So that's good.
I don't remember the movie much at all. It sounds
It's
vaguely familiar, but I'm like, I didn't make an impression during Trome.
It's a solid 2.5. There were two Troma movies here. I was like, how did I not watch these during Troma? But Troma, like I think you and me both put down like 40 movies,
Yeah.
and they're half of them were the same, half of them were different. So it happens. But it's a solid 2.5.
Yeah, we both made sure to watch both Lloyd Kaufman's.
As
Or
many
all the core like actual directed
Yeah.
by Kaufman, and as much Trome as we could get in
As
terms
we
of the
could.
Tromas, because there's a lot of Tromas that are like actually officially theirs, and then there's ones that they just distributed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the other Troma I watch, I'm jumping one, but like I did watch The Children, which was I think like a Troma one you watched and I
Yes.
didn't, and then I think you're like, this one's actually not bad, and I was like, shit.
Yeah.
I was like, I should have watched.
Yeah, because I would have watched the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray I have of this.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Yeah,
has got
like
which has got this cover I'm looking at right now.
with the green faces.
Yes.
It's a cool cover, and I've been meaning to watch it for a while, but it only just got added to Tubi, just like Frightmare. I'll talk about Primal Rage in a second, but yeah, this was another Troma one that I think at the time you're like, this is a good one, and I was like, okay. So school bus of kids, radioactive or like nuclear plant breaks down, gas cloud, school bus rolls through the gas, and then sheriff comes upon the bus and is like, where's the kids at? And then you just see kids kind of like walking home, and they're like, "Arr," and then they're like, mommy, daddy,
And
then
they hug you.
They hug their loved ones, and it's an atomic hug, and the people just like get radiation poisoning like immediately, and their bodies shrivel up, and you're like, yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
1980. It's a good time for a radioactive horror.
Yeah, this one's pretty cool. Like the children are stalking people. It doesn't feel like a Troma movie. I don't know what that means. It doesn't feel like a Troma movie. It feels like a Hammer movie.
Right. It's not like it's kind of silly as the concept of what you
Mhm.
just described is like, oh, kids on school bus drive through atomic cloud, and then they go around and give like
Atomic
hugs to their
hugs.
parents and melt them. And
Yeah.
you're like, well, that sounds stupid. You're like, well, they play it like
They
almost
play
straight.
it straight.
Yeah.
And that's why it feels like a Hammer movie, is because it's kind of like a weird idea, but like they play it straight for the most part. So it's like the sheriff and he like meets a guy one of the guy's kids was on the bus who is also missing, and they're just like, God, we gotta find these kids. So they're like driving around, and the guy's wife is at home and she's pregnant, and eventually they come back to the house, and then it's like the two dudes and the wife, and they're just holed up in the house, and like all of the children are surrounding it because they're basically the only people left that like haven't been atomic hugged. You get a pregnant lady smoking in this, and she looks at her pregnant belly and she goes, sorry. Which I screenshotted and put on the Discord. I don't know if people could tell what was going on, but she's saying sorry to her pregnant tummy, and I was just like, oh man. But this movie is pretty cool because a lot of this movie is the sheriff and the other dude like shotgun blasting 10-year-olds, and then as the kids are like getting up, they're like, "Arr!" They like go with a not like a bayonet, but like one of those old timey swords, and they're just like, ah, and they're cutting off all their hands.
Okay, so there's like it's like a gun with a knife on the end,
No, it's just the sword, but it's like it looks like what.
like a Civil War one, like a
Yeah,
saber.
yes, yeah. It's like a saber. So like their defense against these kids, they shoot them, and then eventually they realize the one guy's like, it's the hands. He's like, they get those hands on you, and they turn you into atomic waste. He's like, we gotta cut off their hands. So they go around and they're just shotgunning little kids, and then they're cutting off their hands with sabers, which I kind of liked. I thought that was good. I thought that was really good, Jared. But a couple bad things. We do get a dead dog in this, and we do get someone throwing a chicken like from off screen. I can tell. But said I've brought this up before. I can always tell when a chicken is thrown. So somebody has a chicken off camera and throws it into camera. I can always tell, Jared.
Okay.
And the mom in this is like, I don't know if they're trying to I don't know what they're trying to play it off with her, but like she is so oblivious to everything. It's like the kids are killing you, and she's like, no, they're fine. And then it's like kids, they're like, like melting faces. She's
Mommy.
like, no. There's dead kids in it too. So, anyways, you want to hear about a real Jarrett pick?
Sure.
Primal Rage.
Oh man. Oh man.
I don't know if this is a Jarrett pick or not, but
well, I gave it 3 stars.
You did. That's almost a recommendation.
And what was my review?
Bigfoot smelling piss.
Sniffing
piss.
Was that accurate?
Yes, he does.
That
do
does
that
in fact happen.
Well, he is a sex offender in this film.
No.
But did you see my review of this?
I did, and I don't recall it. Let's see here. So RJ writes, Bigfoot operates in some pretty interesting ways here. Bigfoot throwing bodies at cars, Bigfoot throwing rocks, Bigfoot pushing cars into rivers, Bigfoot crafting bark armor, Ninja Bigfoot cutting hair, shooting arrows, decaps slit throats, ripping jaws off, setting bear traps, Bigfoot armies. But then he's also a sex offender, so file that under a negative encounter.
It's very, very accurate, Jarrett. So this is a Bigfoot movie.
Yep.
Obviously. It's a guy just gets out of prison and they're driving and they stop at the side of the road because they like see something and or something hits their car and they come out and they look and it's like a half of a torso and they're like, what the heck?
What, is this the movie that opens up with her picking up her boyfriend from jail?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, I think that's how this opens too. It
Yeah,
has nothing to do with anything else.
Well,
or he's picking her up. I can't remember.
No, she picks him up, and so the reason is they run into townies, and they're like rednecks, and they're like, we don't like ex-cons here, and he's like, listen, man, I paid my time, and then later when they're in Bigfoot country, they run into the ex-cons, and it's kind of like, are these ex-cons gonna rape the girl, or is Bigfoot gonna get them? I'm gonna let you know right now.
Well, they're not ex-cons. They're like hunters.
So they're the hunters, but they don't like him because he's an ex-con, and that's the only rationale they give. They're just like, we don't like you here. You should move on. Yeah. They're like, we don't like criminals.
Bad dudes.
Yeah. So she picks them up and they're driving, and then something hits their car, and they go out and look, and it's like a torso, and they're like, we couldn't have hit this. Where's the legs? It's something like that, and then it cuts to Bigfoot in the trees. He's like,
and so he's wearing like the
bark
mask.
armor. Yeah, he's got a mask on, and you're just like, what is that? So then they're in the woods, and Bigfoot's a real creep in this. Like the girl has to take a pee somewhere, and he goes and sniffs it, and then at one point he sneaks up behind her, and he just gives a little cut of her hair. And then he takes it, but he doesn't take the girl. He just cuts some of her hair, and you're just like, wait a minute. Why did he do that? But then, like, he's doing all the Bigfoot stuff. He throws rocks. He pushes cars into the river. And then he starts doing things that are they're a little bit atypical of the Bigfoot movie, Jared. Mm-hmm. So he does have bark armor all over his body. He shoots arrows, which I was like, whoa, you don't see that with Bigfoots a lot. He uses knives. He sets bear traps, and then the one spoiler to this is the Bigfoot army thing, but I won't explain what that means. But what you find out is the sheriffs in this town are indigenous folk, and they called the Bigfoot the Oma, and it's like their local monster. The only thing I had kind of an issue with is this movie seems like it's a Midwestern, and the indigenous folk in this, they do like a peyote like thing in a teepee, like a peyote, like a sweat lodge. And I was like, I feel like peyote doesn't fit with that, like with the region. I think that's like a New Mexico thing. Did it get as high as Washington and BC area? Peyote? It's a cactus, right?
Do they? I don't remember.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm not an indigenous fellow, but I was like, I don't know if that one's true or not. One really cool thing in this, there's like an old indigenous woman, and she's kind of like a witch. She's like an old crone.
Fuck! And then
who
she
lives
is
in the woods.
Crone.
Yeah, she's like, and she's got like hook fingers and like a hook nose.
Like she's like a mutant.
Yeah, and she's super cool though. So she like saves the guy and like she like puts maggots in his wounds and like covers his body in like jellies and stuff. And you're just like, all right. And then she's like, you go fight the Bigfoot. She doesn't say anything, but he's like, I'm gonna go fight the Bigfoot. And then as he's leaving, she like laughs and she's just got like a little drum and she starts drumming it. It's like dun 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 dun, and it's like when they were having the sweat lodge thing with the drums, and then he starts like running to the beat of the drum, and you're just like, yeah. You're like, go get that Bigfoot, man. So
yeah, because Bigfoot basically gets to like completely take apart this hunting party of like men that would probably be just as dangerous to her.
The implication is that if Bigfoot didn't come, those 10 men would have raped her.
Yeah, because they're we're just having a little bit of fun. Because they kind of wind up like her and her boyfriend. Her husband, I guess, they wind up with them beholden to these guys, and they're just like, we're just kidding around. No, we're not. Yeah, we're just kidding. What are you being so serious for? We're not. We're just joking.
Well, yeah, and they're like, can we use your radio? And they're like, our radios don't work. And then it'll be like, and it's like, coming in, and it's like, it doesn't work in some parts, you know. And they're like, let's go this way to the camp. And then they're like, isn't camp that way? And they go, oh, well, you know, where the vehicles.
But don't worry about it. Bigfoot fucks them up.
Yeah, he gets all of them, and that's where he does the cool things like shooting arrows and setting up bear traps and stuff, and ripping people's jaws off, which I thought was really cool.
He fucking like murders people so bad in this,
which is so. All the killing Bigfoot does is super cool, and kind of like the thing about this is the Oma thing is that he's like the reincarnation of tribal leaders, and it's like he is now the forest protector. He's a Bigfoot. But he is like the reincarnation of like an old tribal leader or an old war chief or something is what they say. So everything Bigfoot does to kill people is really cool, except he is a sex offender in this in a couple of bad ways.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's kind of a rapist.
Yeah, and then it's not really shown, but it's implicated.
It's heavily implicated. Yeah, you're in the hut, and you're like, "What's he doing back there?" And you're like, "Oh boy."
And you go,
it's like I don't know if I needed this in my primal rage.
I feel like if that wasn't in here, this movie would be way higher. Like it would be it would have a lot going for it. So it's kind of a bummer that they did choose to make him a rapist in this. I don't really know why they decided to do that. But anyways.
But she has a final stand.
She does until something happens.
Because also the sheriff joins in.
Yeah, the sheriff comes in.
It's part of the cycle. It's like well, I got to face this fucking Oma thing.
Yeah,
and then we get more masks, RJ.
Oh well, and so like here's the spoil. No, we don't need to spoil it. But there's masks. There's armor.
Where's Primal Rage 2?
Well,
this is the only movie that
haven't made it yet.
Patrick McGee. This is the only Patrick McGee film.
Is that a real person? Do you think?
That's the name of the person who directed this. Apparently,
but is that a real person?
I think a person made this.
Okay.
Unless you think was it the algorithm?
I don't know. I mean it's got cool Bigfoot kills. It actually does. Like Bigfoot, I like as soon as the intro of Bigfoot is him throwing a torso at a car. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, this is good Bigfoot action. This is good stuff.
No.
So yeah, it's really good except for the rape.
Yeah.
Anyways, do you want to hear about some more movies? Should I hand it off to you for a while?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Sure, I'll talk about some things. I watched The Brain Eaters because I was looking for something
I've
really
been trying to
short
watch
and
that for a
sweet.
long time.
It is 61 minutes long.
Ooh.
This is some 50s sci-fi horror. If you've ever seen a little movie like, say,
Atomic Brains?
fuck, what's the movie we watched? The Creeps. The
Like
Brain
the
one.
brain?
Not the Brain. You know, I can't
Oh,
remember
I
the
know
name
what
of
you're
it.
talking about. The
The
brain
bird.
eater slugs things.
Yeah, it's like that. This is just like another slug movie,
Yeah.
but it's like brain slugs, and they take you over. What is the synopsis of this one? Ooh, what a great tagline though! Crawling, slimy things, terror bent on destroying the world. A huge alien structure resembling an inverted cone appears in the woods outside a small rural town. Sent from Washington to investigate the origin of the mysterious object, a team of investigators discovers that intelligent parasites from inside the cone can attach themselves to humans' nervous systems and control their minds, taking control of the authorities and workers, making communication with the outside world impossible, and leaving the responsibility of stopping the invasion up to 7 people who have thus far been able to avoid possession by these creatures from parts unknown.
Parts unknown, hey?
Parts unknown, just like where the Ultimate Warrior's from.
Interesting. Interesting.
And Papa Shango, I think, too.
The Papa Shango?
Yeah, from Parts Unknown.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, there's this one bit where this like old like man, this old scientist man straps up immediately. And he's like, so he starts climbing up scaffolding, like huge scaffolding, instead of just up the ladder that's conveniently right there. But he knew what he was doing. He was like, this is way cooler to go this way. And show off how spry I still am.
Did you
You know about being spry, RJ?
I've heard about being spry. Could I speak to it? No.
No. Absolutely not.
No.
Yeah, what's the name of that movie? Why isn't it under 50 sci-fi? Is it 60 sci-fi?
Could be. I mean, I have it in my list. I can check. You keep talking. I'll figure out what it is.
I just can't believe I can't think of it.
I'll
Anyway, so
find it.
it's Fiend Without a Face. Kind of, it's like
Fiend Without a Face, you idiot.
Yeah.
How could you forget?
That was, it's there. But yeah, if you want to put something on, you're like, I just want the vibe, RJ. I want that 50 sci-fi horror vibe on background viewing.
Yeah, there's better ones, but if you don't actually want to watch, then yeah,
you can hear, strange turns of phrase from the era,
like what
cheap movies. I don't know, something probably sexist,
problematic.
Definitely sexist.
Something an Oma would say.
Maybe. Hey, so one thing we both watched that's next for me is a short film that I had been hearing about for like 6 years.
Where's it been?
It's been in the ether. It's been on only isolated to like film circuits and stuff like that, short film festivals. And I believe this was like one of those shockwaves things that got talked up way long ago. And it's called
What happened to them?
Well, they're not around anymore, but we are.
But we are. Okay.
In one form or another. Great Choice. From 2017, directed by Robin Commissar.
I didn't realize, because I saw you watch this, I was like, oh, short, I'll watch it. And it's got Carrie Coon. You know Carrie Coon?
Not really.
Well, she was in The Leftovers.
Okay.
She was in Avengers Infinity War.
Gone Girl, Ghostbusters Afterlife. I recognized her in this way. And then like Morgan Spector's been in a bunch of crap. The waiter.
Yeah, I recognize him too, but I was surprised by Carrie Coon. I was like, hey, Carrie Coon. Crazy. Anyways.
So what this is if you've ever seen a Adult Swim short, like whatever it is, footage of or unedited footage of a grizzly bear, that kind of thing, Too Many Cooks. This fits into that oeuvre. A woman gets stuck in a Red Lobster commercial in Robin Commissar's horror comedy that won Best Short at the Overlook Film Festival. That's the pitch. So yeah, this had not been available to watch at all for the last 5.5 years. I've looked and it's never been around. People's like probably a lot of the reviews on Great Choice were like, "Where can I watch this?" Or they talk about it and they talk about it in extremely high regard of how amazing it is. So I was like, "Huh, I don't know. Well, I guess when it comes around, I'll watch it." And just like a month ago, I thought to look it up, and holy shit, it got uploaded earlier this year. What perfect timing!
Of course.
So I could finally watch it for myself. So what is this? Well, it's like a Adult Swim short that I don't really like the ending of very much.
The ending?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I read reviews for it, when people were talking about, well, yeah, it's just like drug addiction, and I was like, watching this, and I was watching this, and I was like, what the fuck are people even saying? This has nothing to do with that. And then it gets to the final bit, I went, oh, okay.
I mean, just because it ends in like an addictions group doesn't mean the short is about addiction. I feel like people are trying too hard to make it more than it is.
Yeah, and I feel like without that, it would have been better.
Yeah,
honestly, I mean, it's just like this weird. I don't know. I didn't feel it came off as extremely sincere to me. It felt like this, like, hey, this is really earnest now, you guys. Enough with the laughs. Yeah. And I'm like, no, just like write it out. Like write out what you're going for, which is, it's this looping sequence of a Red Lobster ad. The funniest thing about it is just like the narration of it, of like the commercial voice guy saying things like Fred Robster, which I don't know. Fred Robster. Yeah, this is like Tim and Eric stuff, but with some heart. And I'm like, I don't need that. But it's like another piece of that. It's not one, but I would not say this is like one of the better of these sorts of shorts that exist. But it's a solid 3 stars. It's 7 minutes long. I would definitely say people should watch it. It's good, but is it great? No, RJ. It's a good choice.
It's 6 minutes. Great choice. 30 shrimp.
30? 30.
Good choice.
Ois. Yeah. No, it's worth it for that. But yeah, it's okay. How about you? You watched this thing.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I thought it was good. I liked most of it. I didn't like get upset at the ending, but I do not see this as an addiction thing. I don't think it should be. I mean, maybe that's what they're going for, but I like it better not being that thing, I guess. Yeah, no, I like it. When you're watching it and then it happens once or twice, you go, you say, oh, I see what's going on here. And then it kind of takes a jump and you go, oh, yeah, good for you, Carrie Coon. You take control. Take control of that situation. Control your narrative kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find that she controlled her narrative in this?
I guess so. And I mean, that was the script. She had to eventually.
She had to. Yeah, no, I liked it. It is, as you said, a good choice.
A good choice. Good filler for the month. For that day where a person just can't get that one creep in. So another film that's got kind of a bluey poster on Letterboxd right now is a YouTube film that's floating around. I don't know. I don't know what came to my attention.
Oh, bluey is in the color. I thought you meant bluey is in like the cartoon with the dog.
No. Things don't get a little blue.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm talking about Cyclops from 1987, directed by George Ida, something like that. Yeah, this is the first I'd ever heard of this, and somebody really pumped this thing up, talking about how good it was. It might have been Bleeding Skull, but then I started noticing that a bunch of people I follow have watched it, and like we're 3+ stars, 3s and 4s being tossed around indiscriminately. And I saw this was from 1987, Japanese, and I mean, listen to this synopsis. A bizarre medical exam of a nude woman by several doctors and scientists reveal that their latest subject has committed suicide before giving birth to one of the mutant creatures they had placed within her body. So, an investigative crew of scientists, along with a large human mutant Cyclops creature, head out to the city streets to obtain a new donor victim in the form of a young girl. Gore and Z-grade mayhem ensue. Got to give props where it's due, RJ. So Elric Kane, Shockwave fame.
Interesting.
His review was HFS, yes.
Wow.
If Cronenberg made an R-rated X-Men origin story, he's not wrong.
Really?
It is like a Japanese adaptation from the 80s of like an X-Men origin story.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a character named there's a Cyclops, and it's a man wearing a big visor, and he's very serious. But it's not X-Men, but it is off. And there is like a Cronenberg-ness to everything. It's institutional. It's got kind of this goofy, pervy Japanese humor you would just expect, I guess, in these things. But for the most part, this thing it builds and builds and builds, and then it gets to the ending, and then you go, holy shit, this is awesome. It looks it's shot on film. It looks cool. It fits right in there with like your Tetsuo the Iron Mans. But yeah, the ending will leave you a bit surprised because you're like, huh, didn't expect it to go there. Weird vaginal eyes, RJ.
What kind?
Vaginal.
Could you explain what you mean by that?
Like, you're like, ew. Cyclops. Why do you got to be like that? Yeah, this movie's pretty neat. I would definitely watch list this. I'm not sure if you want to get to it this year, but it's not too bad, and it's only an hour long.
Interesting.
I think actually, so that's
the selling point.
So this, you don't want to watch this on YouTube because the subtitle it looks like trash, but on archive.org, so you'd watch it on a browser, it has proper subtitles.
What about Tubi? Is it on Tubi by
it's
chance?
not on Tubi. I know. I checked out this pseudo found footage film called The Collingswood Story. So this is from 2002. This popped up on a Bleeding Skull list of, it's like alt Halloween picks, movies that are underseen that people should watch. And on the list, I think I'd seen the majority of them, but this one I'd never heard of. And then I saw it was on Shudder.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, and I was like, what the deuce? So this is directed by some guy named by the name of Michael Costanza. Let me tell you the tagline: a revolutionary experiment in the supernatural. So this movie is from 2002 and is told through Zoom in 2002, where people are dying.
2002 Zoom?
Yes.
I didn't know Zoom was around that long.
It wasn't, but imagine, if you will, dialing in to somebody on an app on their old Windows 95-ish looking GUI, and you can just talk to one person at a time with a webcam, but it's like not a real webcam. It's like, oh, here's a camcorder at my face at my desktop computer. So there's not a lot of opportunity for a person to be like walking around with their computer to do stuff, but there is like one weird contraption. She's like, I got this together. I'm at college and I have this thing so I can walk around the room. You can follow along. And it's like this girl and her, like, I don't know, high school friend, but the guy would like it to be more. And they're carrying on this conversation. There's a third party dude that's his best buddy. He's like the buddy character. And there's things going on. There's even a digital there's a digital seance that even winds up happening. So she's moved into a haunted house unknowingly. And feels like way too long at 82 minutes because like nothing happens. It's all build. He gets her a gift of like talking to a medium via this platform, and the medium's like, oh, there's a real evil spirit around you.
How evil?
I don't know. Bad.
Oma bad?
No. Not Oma bad.
Few things, eh?
Yeah, I'm honestly trying to remember how this even ends. But this thing is shot. It's super cheap. I gave it 2.5 stars. And
Is
I
that
think
good?
that might be generous.
Oh.
I didn't hate it. I just was kind of like, oh, it's okay. But I mean, these two actors, Johnny Burton, Stephanie Dees. Oh
These
shit,
who?
Stephanie Dees. She was in a film called The Buttercream Gang in 1992. The
No,
Buttercream Gang in Secret of Treasure Mountain.
no, when someone says D's, you're supposed to say D's nuts. That's
I
like
know.
it's like a joke.
I didn't want to say that though because it looks like her last film was in something called Chase the Slut. So
Was it a trauma movie?
I know,
Oh damn.
not quite. Didn't make it to Tromadom.
Because if it was, it would have probably been like empowering.
This is the genre it belongs to is comedy.
Oh.
Comedy.
Oh. Oh.
Comedy.
Yikes.
And then we talked about all these movies already: Hell House, Care
Yes,
Package,
we did.
The Convent.
Mhm.
Sleepwalker is British horror. People really like this one too.
Mhm.
The same pod of people have really strong feelings toward it, but man, this is like not a Jared or RJ pick.
No,
No,
that is the Sleepwalker. The cover's cool, like the
it is,
poster.
yeah, it
Yeah.
does. But it's a British giallo that's an hour,
Ugh.
like not even. It's like 50 minutes long, and it's about class. RJ, so
Sometimes I
people,
don't even want Italian giallo, let alone
yeah, the
other country
British,
giallo.
little Canadian giallo.
Ugh.
What about Jello?
Ah. Oh. I haven't had Jello in years, I think, to be honest.
And then so last week, so this will bring us up to last Wednesday. The thing I watched after we recorded was
Mhm.
Eaten Alive on
The Toby Hooper film?
the Umberto Lenzi film about cannibals.
Oh, not Toby Hooper.
No, there's a few Eaten Alives.
Oh.
Trapped in a jungle of crazy flesh eaters, the terrifying nightmare that became reality. A woman's search for her missing sister leads her to the jungles of New Guinea, where she and an expat guide encounter a cult leader and flesh-hungry natives. So this is doing a Jonestown thing out of
Mm-hmm.
nowhere. It's a scumbag Italian cannibal movie. Probably the worst one yet I've watched. I mean, Cannibal Holocaust is awesome, is like an incredible horror film, top shelf. And then
Mm-hmm.
everything inspired is dog shit. Your Cannibal Feroxes
Ferox.
is like shit, but it's better, I think, than Eaten Alive. Yeah, I think these things. This is like, oh yeah, they're fake cutting off that fake tit. Oh, they're killing an alligator on film. Oh yeah, more weird rape scenes and weird hairy men standing about talking
You
and
know how I
discussing
feel about
things.
all that.
I know this is like, yeah, this is like garbage filmmaking.
Yeah.
It's no Cannibal Holocaust. I
Few
mean,
things are.
if it's going to if you're going to do those things, those bad things in your movie, you better make it worthwhile. Eaten
You
Alive
heard
does
it here
not do it.
first.
Yeah, make it work. Make it worthwhile. Make it worth my time.
Wow.
Yeah,
Huge.
yeah. I had zero. Now I will say I had no expectations going into it, besides extremely low ones. Sorry, I
Right.
should say I went in with like non-existent expectations because I knew it was going to be shit, and it
Right.
was. But I wasn't mad about it. I was just like, yeah, that sucked. But I knew what I was signing up for.
Mm-hmm.
That fair? Is that fair?
Sure. Sure.
Yeah. Perfect.
Sure.
Beautiful. RJ, what have you been watching?
I'm gonna tell you, Jared.
Have you managed to watch anything lately? Go on.
Well, Jared, I watched a few films, and that's it.
Okay.
So I watched The Toolbox Murders. Have you ever seen this thing?
The Toolbox Murders. I have.
No, I should say they made a remake of this in the early 2000s.
I've seen both toolboxes. The last time I saw Toolbox Murders was 11 years ago.
Okay. I don't know if the remake is like the same story. The poster of it looks like very seven edgy.
Yeah. Toby Hooper, by the way.
Oh, of course. Of course. I don't know why this was just I have like a big master list of whenever like I see someone log a horror movie and they give it something more than 3 stars, it's like, oh, I'll add that to my big creeped over list. And then I think I mentioned to you, like, my list this year was I went through that and I just said, what is actually on the streaming platforms that I have? And this was on there. So I went, okay, this was on Shudder. So this is kind of like, it's not a giallo, but it's like a leather glove killer kind of guy. Actually, you see his body. Never mind. It's an apartment complex, and someone's going around killing young single women in the apartment complex. Pretty straightforward.
Constantly.
But, yes, constantly. And they just have a toolbox where they go around. And as soon as this movie opens, it opens with like a cold open kill, and the guy has a toolbox and stuff like that and puts his tools away. You go, I wonder if it's the super of the building that's doing this. I can't say. I don't want to spoil the film, Jarrett. But that is the first thought you have. So a couple things about this. There is a scene in this movie that had me so genuinely confused. I was like, I've never seen something like this. I was like, did the actress choose to do this? Was this in the script? Was this like directed? Did nobody say anything? Like, it was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. And like, that's the only thing I really want to talk about for Toolbox Murders, because it's fine. It's whatever. It's not great. But a lady turns on the shower and she's in all her clothes, and like she takes her shoes off, but then she like hears something and she gets scared and she's like, oh. So she like walks in the shower, all of her clothes get wet. She turns the shower off, and then she walks out of the shower, and then she looks at her wet clothes and goes, "Oh." And then she changes into dry clothes.
Did you mention that? So she goes into the shower, and she puts on a shower cap, and then she looks back at the shower, and she thinks she sees something in the shower, like there's like a dark form. Yeah. In it. And then she pulls back the shower curtain, and she sees her clothes that apparently she forgot were in there.
Yes.
But then she proceeds to step into the shower
without turning it off.
Because she turned it on without going from outside, like you do, like a normal person that's always done. But then she goes in to the shower with her fully clothed still.
Yes.
To turn it off.
Yes.
And then she leaves the clothes that she thought was a person.
Yes.
And she like partially changes, so we get some boobs.
Yes, you do. She changes into dry clothes because her clothes have been ruined, basically.
Well, they've been made wet.
Or they've been wet. Yeah, they're like, she can't hang out in those anymore. But she was going to shower, and she doesn't now.
So all this is like, I think, to discombobulate the viewer, because you're like expecting. Because you're expecting something to happen, like, oh, he's in the shower, because you've already seen him kill somebody at this point. And that's the one thing we'll get to, I guess, because at the first 25 minutes of this movie is just literally this guy killing women, like back to back in like slasher. Yes. But it's all slasher stuff, right? But it's like, this big dude wearing like a boiler suit kind of thing and a balaclava, and he's got his tools and his gimmicks that he's going to kill women with. And so she gets out, and then like eventually you're like, oh, nothing, she's going to be fine. And then she like steps outside of the kind of a hotel. It's like a motel apartment. She steps out to like get something, and then he just appears out of nowhere and kills her. Because she's like, he's crazy, he'd be anywhere. You don't know where it's going to be, audience. And then he just keeps killing people for like 30 minutes, and then RJ, it transitions.
It does. It transitions into a hostage situation.
Yeah, starring Cameron Mitchell.
Yeah. I'm surprised you have such a fond memory of this. Would you say you watched this 11 years ago?
I decided to hop on to Tubi. And I kind of rewatched because I was like, what did
the shower scene?
I found it really fast, and then I watched it. Well, it's
in the first 10 minutes or something.
And then I wanted to skim around with it because when I watched this movie, like whatever it was, 11 years ago, I really liked it. I think because it's so scummy. This movie,
it's scummy.
This is like a one and done movie too. Like the guy made like one short film, and he made this movie, and that's it. And this movie is just like, I don't know. It really captures like the nastiness of like 70s cinema.
Oh yeah,
it's just like unrepentantly ugly. And Cameron Mitchell, who is in like 160 movies, And the movies he started being in near the end were just getting weirder and trashier. And this is just like typifies it. So I was always like, oh yeah, it's the movie where Cameron Mitchell just like monologues and goes on and on weirdly to this woman that he's like got tied to a bed. And he's not doing anything to her. He just wants to keep her pure.
Yes. Well, and yeah, like that's the thing. This is definitely greasy. And then at the end of the movie, it's like, this is based on a true story. And then you go, oh shit.
And you go, sure.
So yeah, it's like an apartment complex, and a dude's going around just like killing women nonstop. He does, like with the hammer, the nail gun, whatever he's got in his toolbox. And then he kidnaps a young girl and then handcuffs her to a bed, and he's just like, hey, you remind me of my daughter who died. And
this guy's supposed to have nothing to do with the dude we saw earlier.
No.
This is like, but even though like there's no other way that the audience would imagine anything else.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh, this must be a red herring.
Yeah. The only thing, and I had to make a note of this on Shudder, which is kind of a rare misstep for them. When the killer is first shown, it subtitles his name. And it's like heavy breathing, and then it has the name of the guy who will later be outed as the killer, and you go, oh, and it shows it, and you're like, why is there a name there? And then like 20 minutes later, they show the guy, and he's like, yeah, I don't know what those murders are about, and then it shows his name again, and you're just like, hey, wait, that's the same name. Hey. And then it ends up being him, and you're just like, hey, wait a minute.
Hey, wait a sec.
So anyways, yeah, this is super scuzzy, and I can see you liking it. I didn't give it a huge rating or anything like that. It does have some cool kills in that, but it does get very it's so greasy. Like, so guy kidnaps the girlfriend, and then there's like a young kid and his friend that are also investigating the murders. Yeah. And then the one kid goes home, and it's his dad is the guy who kidnapped that lady, and then he finds the young girl and he goes, oh, hey, so like, do you come here often?
He kills his dad.
Yeah, and then he goes to the girl, and she's like, oh, you're saving me. And he goes, well, I had something else in mind.
Yeah.
And then, so there's some bad stuff there, and then she's eventually kind of like on the move, and she's kind of walking in a parking lot covered in blood, barefoot, and that's where it's freeze frame, and it's like the events in this story are true, and it's like she lived 20, or like she continues to live the rest of her life 2 blocks away from where all this happened. And you go, what? You go, is that really how this happened? But yeah, I mean, I can see, so this was on Shudder for me, and I was like, I wonder what this is all about. And like, I've heard people talk about it. I see why people like it. It wasn't really my thing.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad movie. I was just mostly like, I was so confused at that scene with the shower. I was like, this is so bizarre. Like, do you think she just did that? And the director's like, keep rolling, keep going. Like, how do you feel that scene?
Maybe there's like, yeah, she like hopped in, and the director went, what the fuck? She just like, well, we don't, it's too much film to reshoot it. So yeah. Let's keep going.
It's like, keep going.
She went, sorry, I forgot. It's like, okay, whatever. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I don't know.
Toolbox murders.
More like fool box murders.
Do you want a movie with a greasy dude wearing a balaclava who's like licking his lips?
Oh, you know what the best part about that is, dude? The balaclava is never on like right. It's always like to the side a little bit, so it's like one eye is open and like half his mouth is covered. But it's not like, that's not like a stylistic choice. That's just like this. The implication is the guy is like so frantic. He's like, and he's
pulling it on.
Pulls it on his face.
It's a little bit more realistic, honestly.
Yeah. He does, in one scene, he's got a nail gun, and he walks in on a girl who is
masturbating.
Yeah, Jared said it. And he just watches her for a while, and then you go, oh yeah, this is some 70s filth.
And then she starts running away, and he's like taking the time to like reload his nail gun.
Yeah, she's like, wait, I'll do anything. And he kind of shrugs, and and then he kind of just points his nail gun back down. He's punishing the women, Jared.
That's right.
As Joe DiMaggio would say, maybe, from Criminal Minds.
Mm-hmm.
Punishing. Hey, do you want to hear about the Langoliers?
Why? This is the movie I was mentioning off the top that I remember seeing the TV commercials for this mini-series.
You went, holy shit.
Well, I went, oh man, it's going to be too scary for me.
It
Wait,
probably still is.
might be Stephen King's name, because when you hear Stephen King shit on a plane, oh my god.
So I guess I mean, there's no real background to this. I audiobooked The Langoliers in the summer. So I was just like, "Hey, The Langoliers, I'll check that out." And then I turned this thing on, and then I was watching. And I was like, "Wait a minute, how long is this?" And then I saw that it was 3 hours long, Jared, and I went,
Yeah.
"Holy shit!"
Yeah, two parts.
It's a two-part, which I mean, that's on me, to be honest. Like, it's like I knew it was a TV movie, but something about me, I was just like, I didn't realize. I was like, oh, that's probably like more than 90 minutes. So I threw it on, and then I was just like, oh my god, this movie's going for fucking ever. And I looked in it, I was just like, oh my god. So, anyways, I audiobooked this in the summer, and do you know what The Langoliers is about?
No, not really.
Okay, plane takes off.
No.
There's a bunch of people on the plane, but there's a pilot who is deadheading because so he's just sitting on the plane because he just got word that his wife in Boston just died or something. So he's like, all right, I'll just hop on this plane and go. And then like a bunch of people fall asleep and they wake up, and one of them's like a little blind girl, and she's like, where is he? And then like there's only like 7 other people on the plane, and they all kind of wake up and they're like, oh yeah, where is everybody? And the one pilot guy's like, it's okay, I'm a pilot. Let me get in there. And the pilots are gone. All of the other people are gone. But they're like jewelry and pacemakers that have like are all on the seats and stuff like that. And so pilot lands the plane. And you get introduced to all the characters. There's like old dad character who's nice. There's like young lady teacher who's nice. There's blind girl. There is British secret agent who is trying to convince people he's not a secret agent but knows way too much about everything, and you're just like, are you a secret agent or something? And he is. And then there's sniveling conniving guy who's really like unsound mentally, and you're just like, okay. He's like I got a meeting in Boston, I gotta get to Boston, and you're just like, all right. So they land at an airport, and as soon as they land, they're like, oh, it's weird. There's no smell here. And they're like, yeah, there's no sound here either. And they go to the cafeteria, and they're like, oh, this food doesn't have any taste. That's weird. And the whole time the blind girl's like, we gotta get out of here. They're like, I hear something. She's like, I hear something bad. And they're like, you're just being blind. Don't worry about it. They're like, nothing's like, I'm not kidding.
You're just like, being blind.
Yeah, they're like, well, she's lost one of her senses. Her other senses are heightened. She's probably just hearing something that's not dangerous. They're like, you're just being blind. But then crazy guy is going real crazy because they land in Bangor, obviously, instead of Boston. Because pilot's like, well, Boston's too high traffic. We gotta go to Bangor, just cause. And then like crazy business guy's going real crazy, and he's running around the airport unattended. And then like the crazy guy is just like, it's the Langoliers. And they're like, what? And then he has a flashback as a little kid, and his dad's like, lazy boys are bad, and the Langoliers come for you lazy boys, and they eat you up. And this kid's like, ah. Oh, so this guy's like, it's the Langoliers. And the little girl's like, I hear something. And everyone's like, relax, nothing weird is going on. Even though like they were on a plane where 95% of the people just disappeared, and then they landed in an airport which is also missing all people.
Nothing is going on.
Yeah, so they're just all gone, and then you're just like, okay. And then the Langoliers do come. Well, actually, what happens first is crazy guy kills a couple of the people, and they tie him up. But then crazy guy gets loose, and then so he's got visions of the Langoliers, and I actually kind of liked it, the Lango vision, where it was like people with like opaque like skin like stuff stretched over their faces, and they're like screaming through it. It was like rubber stretched on their faces. They're like, ah! And I was like, oh, that's cool, I like that. So I kind of like that. And then the Langoliers come, but before I mention that, I just remembered some of the characters in this. So I just watched Green Mile before Creeptober. David Morse is in this. He's in Green Mile too. He's the pilot. And then Ziggy is in this. Dean Stockwell, Jarrett.
Oh.
And he plays a horror science fiction writer and author. and he goes, "I have an idea of what's happening here.
Is
Let
his
me
name
explain."
Bill Queen?
Bob Jenkins.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Bob Jenkins, Jared. So anyway, Ziggy is in this, and so the blind girl's got like she's got like superpowers because she's blind, and that's how a lot of Stephen King stuff goes. And then the crazy guy is there, but then the Langoliers come, and so they're kind of like an extra dimensional entity. But this is the worst CGI I've seen in a very, very long time. Like I described it as like 90s Microsoft like screensavers. Like I think that's like too generous even. The Langoliers are like skin balls that have teeth on them, and the sound effect,
Pinball.
they're like, yeah, like I don't know how else to describe it. You can Google Langoliers TV. They're skin balls, and they have little teeth. And then when they come up, they're like,
I think I've looked at these things before, maybe.
they
And
look
I
like a
went,
ball.
yeah.
They're like a ball, and they got teeth, and they go. So they just jump around. And
Oh
biting that
shit.
shit.
They're like, oh my god.
Is it?
Oh my
If you can see them in motion, you have to see what it looks like because they like go and they eat reality, but it's like a screensaver, like one of the pipe screensavers. Like
it's like a clam shell. Like it's like a rocky clam it's got some like jaggy teeth, and then it's like it kind of has like gums that go into complete darkness. And I can only imagine them going.
They go, but like, so they eat the reality. So they're like eating stuff, and they go, but it looks like the pipe screensaver where it just like takes up space. That's how they like eat through stuff, and you're just like, oh man,
one row at a time.
Yeah. You're like, that don't look good. But so anyways, they find the Langoliers, and then they're like, what happened? And then they go, actually, I just remembered, we flew through Aurora Borealis. Maybe if we fly back through Aurora Borealis, we'll be okay.
Man, maybe I have seen this.
I mean, you probably have. Stephen King is in it for a second. He's in like a fever dream, and he's got a real grubby little mustache. What I will say is, like, in book form, like many of Stephen King things, it's not as goofy as it seems. Like it does play out a lot better in book form.
Okay.
But in TV movie, you're kind of like, woof.
Not great.
Yeah, and then at the end, like they kind of like snap back into their time, and this movie ends with them running, and they go, yeah, and they all like throw their hands in the air, and then it just kind of freeze frames, and then it's done.
That sounds not good. Not good.
Well, that's the Langoliers, pal. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. So, are you gonna check it out?
No, I think I got my Stephen King out of the way this year.
You did, which I didn't realize this was gonna get dropped. I would have watched that instead of what I watched, but
yeah, I had no idea. Then I happened to just crack open Disney Plus, and I went, oh ho ho.
Yeah, you can talk about it now if you want.
Well, I mean, you can continue.
All right. So, anyways, Langoliers, real Jarrett pick. Someone said.
Real Jarrett picks. That's the way I like it.
I watched The Vampire Doll from 1970, a Japanese J horror. Jarrett, you know about J horror?
Yes, I do. This was a Arrow DVD, I think, or Blu-ray at some point.
One of my only notes for this was "Spooky Lady is spooky."
Yeah.
So there's like a plot about like a mansion and like a guy, and he goes missing, and the sister or like fiance goes looking for him, and they come on like a family, like a mother and a daughter, and it's like, is the daughter like normal or is she not normal? Doesn't really matter. This movie's just got spooky stuff.
Right.
I there's a 14-minute dream fake out, which I was a little bit upset about. Like 14 minutes play, and then someone wakes up, and like that's the start of this movie. And I was like, 14 minutes. I was like, what the hell?
And you point to your wrist with your watch that you definitely have, and you go, "Time is money."
Time is money. But Vampire Doll is actually not bad, and here's why. Spooky lady is spooky. And here's what I mean by that. I see this as an influence for a lot of like 80s, 90s J horror. Like a lot of like the Ring kind of stuff is how this lady operates. She's kind of like always like there with her hair real long and scary. So she's real spooky. She's in the corner. It reminded me of a lot of Japanese horror stuff that comes way later than the 70s. And then it actually had like a couple like all right like gore things. Like there were a few gore things in here that I was just like, hey, I wasn't expecting like a huge bloodshot out of it. Like someone gets stabbed and I was like, okay, but then there's like a huge blood squirt come out of his neck and I was like, oh. I was like, I didn't expect that. So like, some cool stuff.
A pleasant surprise.
Yeah. That's all I really got to say about Vampire Doll.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's got some cool stuff in it, but like if you're not in the mood for 70s Japanese horror, then probably not gonna like it.
Yeah, they don't really leave much of an impression, I find sometimes.
What about German horror, Jarrett? How do you feel about German horror?
German horror. Well,
these Germans.
Well, I mean, is this a horror film?
Yes.
Is this or is this elevated horror?
Don't do that. You're better than that. This isn't daylight horror, okay? You get out of here with that.
This is the complex tracking shot horror.
Yes, it is. So I watched Angst.
Angst, yeah. Yeah.
People think it's angst.
Angst.
Angst means fear, Jarrett. Have you ever like wanted a movie from like the murderer's perspective?
I watched this 11 years ago.
Yeah. This movie's 40 years old this year. Oh yeah, 40 years old, Jarrett. This movie.
It's a good vintage.
Yeah. So Angst is a German movie from the murderer's perspective. So
yeah,
it is. He's the narrator of this. So man gets out of
prison. This is also a one and done film.
Oh yeah.
Gerald Cargill.
This seems like a Michael Haneke thing, but if this was a Michael Haneke movie, they would have definitely killed the dog, which they don't. Which I'm appreciative of.
This I think is a big influence on Gaspar Noé.
Yeah, I can see that.
No.
Yeah, it mostly reminded me of Haneke, but like I said, Haneke would kill the dog, and then somebody would like throw the dead body at a window or something to be like, "Oh, Mike," and then someone would get raped afterwards. It's what I know about Haneke films. So a guy he's getting released from prison, and he's the narrator, and he's just like, yeah, I'm getting out. And he's like, but I've got it all planned out. And he's like, they think I'm recovered or whatever. He's like, but all I've ever thought about is what I'm going to do once I get out and how I'm going to do it. He's like, I got the perfect plan. So the whole movie is about him trying to find his perfect opportunity to kill somebody.
Does he take a bus too?
At one point, he does take a bus.
Okay.
And then he jumps in a cab and he tries to kill the cab driver. And then she's like, "What are you doing?" And then he runs into the woods. That's actually how it starts. He's like in a cab, and he stops at like a cafe. He eats a sausage. He's real creepy. He just gets like a sausage with mustard. And he's like, and then he hops in the cab and he's like, "This is a good opportunity. Maybe kill this lady." And he like tries to do it, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Ah!" And so he runs away. And then his narration is like, "However, I didn't know this would give me the perfect opportunity." And so he finds like a house in the woods, and he breaks in, and there's like an invalid man in there who's like daddy, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you later." But then like a young lady and an old lady come home with a dog. So the house he came into, it's like an old lady and her two kids. The one son is like he's in a wheelchair and he like can't really talk very well. And then the girl is like normal. But he's like in the house and he's just like, "All right, I got the perfect plan." And then he enacts that plan. And about 60 minutes of this is him kind of running around trying to kill everybody.
Yeah.
He like immediately makes himself be known. He like ties up the young girl right away. He's like the first thing he does is he pushes the dude out of the wheelchair. He's like, "You're not going anywhere, pal." So he pushes him out of the wheelchair and then he ties up the young girl. And he's like, the old lady I can handle, but his narration is like, I struggled quite a bit with this old woman, and he's like, she was much stronger than I thought she would be.
So a couple things. So nobody in this movie has a name. Like
No.
literally the main character is just named or is credited as psychopath.
Yeah.
Curiously, the actor who plays a psychopath is Erwin Leder, who's from like Schindler's List, Das Boot, Underworld.
Oh
You know,
shit.
but he doesn't do his own narration. It's another actor, Robert Hungerbuehler. This is his
of
most
course.
well-known film. He actually is the narrator.
Yeah, he never talks on screen.
No.
He just has like the internal monologue kind of thing. So what this movie is like, it's the night of him just trying to kill these people, and
it's a day in the life.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think it's a spoiler, but like he kills them all pretty quickly, and then it like the whole movie is kind of like, what do you do now? So it's him like, should I stay? Do I leave? Do I try to like take the bodies? This movie is very visceral, Jarrett. It's very intense.
And you are locked in with this guy because, as I noted,
yes.
like the camera, like the actual like this movie looks amazing if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It's beautifully shot. And like the technical stuff, like the continuous movement of the cameras, you know, the amount of work and the rehearsals that went into making this, it's like, holy crap. This ain't no toolbox murders with people going into the shower for no reason.
Yeah.
This movie it has an ideology, RJ.
Oh, I'm aware. I am well aware of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's well made, and it is it's very pulling. Like you're watching it and you're just like, what is gonna happen next? You're like, I don't really like this dude, but he's compelling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this could be the best movie you watched this month.
I mean, it's a high quality movie. Like there's some movies that I like quite a bit that I have watched this month, but it's like I don't know if they're good movies. I mean, we'll talk about the monsters later. Just 5-star affair all around. But anyways, yeah, it's a very good movie. You know why I actually do like this movie though? Because it is dog friendly. There's a really super cute wiener dog, and the entire time you're like, is something gonna happen? And he never ever hurts the dog ever. The dog approaches him early on, and you're like, oh no, is he gonna get the dog? And he just goes, shoo, shoo. And then the dog walks away, and you go, woof. You're like, incredible. And then later, when he's transporting the bodies, he lets the dog come with him. He's like, yeah, you sit in the front seat, pal. And he like gives him a sausage and stuff. He's like, you're my buddy now. So he's a atypical serial killer because he's just like, I'm gonna let the animals live, whatever. He's like, I'm just gonna kill the people. But yeah, Angst is a intense film, Jared. Very intense. Very intense.
Yes. Yep.
Very intense. Should I hit you with more? Should I stop?
Hit me with another one.
All right, Canadian film.
Oh,
Indigenous.
Oh,
Inuit.
I watched one of those too, but not the Inuit part.
Yeah, I say Inuit, and someone was like, "That's not how you say it," and I was like, "Well, that's how someone told me to say it once." Like I was told once, it was like, "Oh, it's actually Inuit," like from a person who identifies as or like that is Inuit, and I was like, "Okay." I don't know if it matters, but I say Inuit.
Okay.
Anyways, this movie's called Slashback. You ever heard about Slashback, Jared?
Never.
It's on Crave. This is a Skinwalker movie. You know about Skinwalkers?
I do.
Yeah. So this is a Canadian movie. It opens up with the CBC like dung dung dung, because it's like a news report. So I feel like this was maybe partially produced by CBC or something like that. But it's a cool movie. I don't know if you would like it for one reason: child actors. And they're not particularly good. I'm not gonna hold it against it because at this movie it takes place in like in Nunavut, and I feel like what they did was they went to a town in Nunavut and they're like, we're gonna film here. You guys are all gonna be actors in this movie, and they went okay. And they really try their best. So not that all the acting is bad, but like the kid actors, like I think one of them is maybe like an actual actor, and then the other ones, it's like I feel like they were probably just kids who lived in this town.
Okay.
So I don't think you'd like it for that reason, but so it's like it's a small town, and it's kids on bikes and kids on boats also. So they boat across the thing, and they see like a weird polar bear doing weird stuff, and they like shoot it, and then they see like like they see it like moving as it's dead. They're like, let's get out of here. And then what the viewer sees is like worms coming out of it. I actually I think I forgot to tag this, Jarrett. This is an alien flick.
Yeah, I was going to say this has got alien all over it.
Yeah, I have to update that. This is an alien flick. So what you find is that aliens land in none of it, and they are starting to take over the animals. And basically, what they do is they become skinwalkers. So like they take over the animals as skinwalkers, and then eventually they take over the people. And I shared a screenshot of I actually think the one skinwalker dude looks really good. It kind of looks like a human face on top of another, where it's like kind of baggy and saggy in places it shouldn't be, and like the eye holes are like you can't see the eyes. Like I actually think it looks kind of cool. But so it's these kids versus the skinwalkers, and like all the parents are at like a dance or something. So like they can't they don't know what's going on, but the kids get like I don't know, Inuit like weapons, like the like the kind of rounded blade thing, whatever that thing is called. I can't remember what that's called. But they're using like those things, and
Like for like pizza cutter.
yeah, kind of, but like it's like a rounded blade. It's got like a stem, and then it's got like a handle, and that's like for them to cut like meat and stuff.
Okay.
I don't know. It's an Inuit thing. I don't know what it's. I can't
Okay.
remember.
Oh,
what it's
okay.
called.
Okay.
Yeah, you do know what I mean.
I see. Okay, I see.
It has a name. I just don't know what it is. But they use that in like harpoons and stuff like that. I don't know. I thought it like I'm always on board for a Skinwalker pick, and I think it's a good movie. Like it's decent. It's got lots of Canadian stuff in it, which I like. But I do think the child actors will be kind of a hard
Hurdle.
sell for some people.
Okay.
I think you would get like 20 minutes into this and you'd be like, I don't want to watch these kids.
You can.
Not that they're like really, really bad, but like they're not great. So
Okay.
I liked it. It's Canadian, which I always like. Oh yeah, there's throat singing in this, Jarrett.
Oh.
Which apparently is like a an Inuit thing, like throat singing, and it's like mixed with like techno or something, and it really reminded me of your favorite band, Enigma. You remember Enigma, Jarrett?
I've never managed to forget.
Ah, good. So I did watch some other films, but potentially maybe you would like to talk about a film or two.
Okay. So, from in the sweet window of time trying to find shorter films, this one popped up. A lot of positivity toward it, like almost universally on my little feed. Got a 3.4, maybe because a lot of people haven't seen it. It's got only 635 views on Letterboxd. It's a film called Disembodied from 1998.
Yeah.
This is from a fellow named William Kirsten, and this is looks like his only feature film. Well, there's this one called Altheria from 2018. The poster looks like shit, and only 2 people have logged it. But okay, but it looks like some stop motion animation stuff though, some shorts. Recently too, actually, maybe it was some COVID hobbies, but this 1998 film. This is low budget, but working and making the best of what you can with what you've got. Try to make something look like $1 million when you might have only had like $10,000. So the tagline: deviant, psychotic, demented. The story of Connie Sprouts, a likable young woman with the sad problem of a spore-generating deformity on her face, which causes difficulties in her day-to-day life, such as dissolving into a gelatinous mass anyone who is to be devoured by the neural parasite that inhabits her skull, which is empty due to the fact that she stores her brain in a jar beside her bed.
Body melts?
No body melts, really. I feel. But yeah, so this little humdinger, yeah, what an odd little movie. It feels like a '90s art house movie, not art house, but like indie movie. This woman, it opens up with like it's like a cold open in the desert. This man being attacked. It looks like pretty good, and then it cuts to this woman checking into a hotel with this scummy front desk guy with this huge description of there's only one place to check into. It's in the basement by the boiler. She's like, fine, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. She moves in. Her next door neighbor is a sex worker who seems to really enjoy her job, have a lot of fun with it. And this woman, you start getting the thing is like, is she some kind of scientist? She seems to be on the run or something. And there's individuals looking for her wherever she's at. And every once in a while there's this like she hangs her hair one way and then she pushes it aside. It's like again like it's something like out of not the Brood. Uh
Oh, The Brood?
Not the Brood, the second Cronenberg movie after Shivers. No, not the Brood. It's like the one with the parasite sex or parasite one in the armpit with Marilyn Chambers.
Is that not Shivers?
No, there's the one after that. Rabid.
Oh, The Brood.
Yeah, the Rabid Brood. So
okay.
So she's doing this, and it involves parasites. After you get injected with with her spray from her face, there's like these cutscenes to aliens. RJ, so this might actually be an alien film.
Oh well, I'm gonna log that right now. We got Disembodied.
Yeah,
we're gonna add this bad boy.
Yeah,
Unless
I would call it that.
Okay, it's on there. If someone yells at me, it's your fault.
Okay, I mean, it sure feels like it. There's these entities. I don't think they're coming from volcanoes. Maybe it's just another form of life form amongst us.
Dimensionals.
But it feels pretty cosmic. Feels pretty cosmic to me. But yeah, this is about one reviewer here mentions potato farming in outer space.
Ooh, yeah. I like that quite a bit. Yeah. Big fan of that.
But yeah, I mean, the movie involves creepy front desk guy at the hotel. Her trying to befriend someone, mentions about brains in jars. In the possession of the brain. One other person in the reviews also mentions Guy Madden, and I could see that. There's like a bit of like a weird stagecraft element to everything, where it never really feels real because it's like low budget. But again, making the best of what you've got. And so, I mean, in terms of like movies I've never heard of before, and this is just on Tubi, like just sitting there, maybe worth a watch. Have some half interest. I think it'd be worth checking out. On YouTube, though, we've got a video film. This is a shot-on video film from 2004 called "The Boy from Hell," and this is based on a Hideshi Hino comic, and it's live action and is really trying to be a Hideshi Hino comic with like weird, creepy makeup, like something out of a Hideshi Hino comic book would be. This movie opens up with it's very green screened. But Ari Aster, eat your heart out. I know where you got that head getting
blown off by
decapitated off by an oncoming car in this case. But yeah, the head goes bouncing, and then you get a little scene where the body chases after its own head and then keels over. The young boy, and then some mother who's a surgeon, and she's aggrieved, and a kind of weird old Japanese shaman lady says there is a way you could do it, but you got to use this weird old claw and make a sacrifice of another child to bring your child back, Pet Cemetery style. And so she's at the hospital. She's like, oh, there's this like young boy who's only got 10 days left to live. So what's 10 days? So she brings her and her like servant bring this kid out to the cemetery, slit his little throat. And then her son comes back, but he's like a little zombie monster. Like,
aren't they all?
Yep. And so this is 50 minutes long. It's like basically like an hour long episode of a TV show or something like that. I think is how it would have aired. back in Japan, when J horror was all the craze. So this is like fine. It's super low budgety, but it's got some goopy, gross bits. And what really like this is a corpse pick for sure. I don't think Corpse has got around to it yet, but man, oh man, this has got some sweet CGI hell going on. And
Ooh.
I'm always a fan, be it Spawn or Boy from Hell. It's like something of a Jigoku, if you remember.
I
With
do.
some crazy hells. Yeah, this has got some crazy hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with a giant baby monster stomping on people in hell. Yeah, not
Ooh.
not too bad. Not too bad.
Giant baby monster, you say?
Yeah.
Interesting.
No. So
Very interesting.
one thing I have to admit is with Primutos, the Fallen Angel, I've only seen the first hour of this, and I haven't gone back to watch the second hour yet, which I'm planning on doing. But it's logged.
Like tonight?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I should.
Wow.
This is Olaf Ittenbach,
Mhm.
whose only other film that I've seen is The Burning Moon. I watched
Mm.
back in 2016. He does real lo-fi gore like nobody else.
Mhm.
The thing that was kind of stinking up the place on this though is it's got some animated stuff that looks like pretty cruddy and like very forgettable, but then it gets to the weird like period piece gore stuff, and you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa! I like this. I like this. People being burned alive and being butchered and hacked to death in like weird, like Crusades era time, like with no budget. It's like, whoa, this is neat. And zombie effects and people just coming back and bloodbaths and with no money, but it looks awesome. So I do need, but then the problem with it though, so this is from '97. It transitions into this brain dead kind of mode, and I don't know if you remember Peter Jackson's Brain Dead, because there's another
do.
movie. There's another movie I'll be talking about that's also trying to be like a Brain Dead, where you have a goofball kind of main character, and they're like doing this kind of tired comedy that's like, oh, this guy's such a loser. And I think maybe back in the '90s this was hilarious, but it's kind of just like just isn't funny.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of getting through that bit, and I think the idea there is that the guy is actually the reincarnation of um, Prometheus, who's another fallen angel, and every like few centuries he comes back and brings about the end of the world, and there's big conflict. So I think I'm saving up watching through this movie to get to the final like 10-15 minutes, which might be amazing, but there's some stuff in the middle where I'm like, okay, a lot of denim. A lot of denim and scruffy mullet hair. So
it's classic Promutos, though.
Promutos.
It's classic Promutos.
It truly is. Truly.
Yeah. But I mean, that's okay.
But yeah, I'm looking forward. The gore though is exceptional. Just exceptional.
Oh.
Yeah. And RJ, it's my understanding that you have read the novel for which of the next movie I could mention, unless you were planning on watching.
I am, but I have read the book on that, so like I don't feel like there's variation from the book, is what it seems. Like with the ending and stuff. Like I've seen some people say.
I've heard they changed the ending a bit. They made it happier or something. Yeah. So maybe we'll talk about this next time. Because you're gonna watch it. Big Dave's in this movie. Everyone loves Big Dave.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. M. Night Shyamalan though. Ooh.
I am gonna watch that, and I am gonna watch Mithrigan. So you can talk about that if you want, but
well,
I will be watching the other one, and I did read the book.
All I know of Megan, and if we're not talking about Knocking, Kim's gonna be very sad because she watched both of these. I probably won't.
You mean Mithrigan?
Mithrigan, yes.
Yeah. Well, Andy's in for Mithrigan. I explained it. And I was like, Jarrett said we'd like it because it's dumb. And she's like, what? And I was like, he said it was dumb fun. And she's like, he thinks we're dumb. And I was like, well, no, he said it was.
And then the movie's dumb.
Yeah.
And you can't. It is fun, but it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's a dumb movie. It's very dumb.
Yeah.
But it totally feels like a 1980s like sci-fi horror movie, like Child's Play. but
I'm on board
there's
for
some
it.
shit in it. There's some stuff in this movie that fucking is dumb and not funny. But then there's some cool stuff, and that's the stuff that you're there for.
Yeah, I believe it. I
Yeah.
believe it. Yeah, no, I said that, and then as you know, me and Andy have been watching a lot of Home Improvement, and we were watching one the other day where Tim, he tries his best, and he sometimes just says stuff, and and then everyone goes, oh, and then you see, as a viewer, you go, oh, he didn't mean it like that, and so like that's Andy's like, do you relate to Tim Allen? I was like, yeah, I do. Not his conservative viewpoints, but in his trying to be the best man he can be, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean, Jer?
Mm. So yeah, the other thing about Meath Regan is
Regan?
so Allison Williams is in this movie,
Yes, she is.
and I don't think she's that good an actress.
Well, actually, when I showed Andy the trailer, she's like, Andy watched all of Girls,
Yes, yeah,
and
that's
she's
when I was looking, like I didn't recognize Allison Williams, but I was like, I know I've seen her in something. Who is that?
Get
And I
Out.
was like, wow, I watched Get Out once when it came out in, god damn, 2017, and
Just
she's
since
like,
we're
oh,
talking about Jordan Peele.
yes, right. She's also in The Perfection. Remember
Is
The
she perfect?
Perfection? I don't know, probably not.
Yeah.
That's all she's really done. She had Girls, Get Out, Meath Regan, and The Perfection, and some other
Yeah.
stuff you haven't seen before.
Yeah. I really hope Mithrigan catches on.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's
that's
James
what I call
Wan. It's James Schwan.
Oh, I'm sure. Okay, but on a scale of Mithrigan to fuck, what was that dumb? What's the pig lipstick movie from last year? The basket case movie that James Wan did.
Oh, Malignant or whatever. It is?
Yes. On a scale of Malignant to
Oh, this is better.
yeah, okay.
I think this is better. That movie was. I think people were trying real hard to convince themselves that movie was incredible, but
They didn't lean in. They didn't lean into it enough.
There's no tricks because that movie's trying to be tricky, right? This movie's not trying to be smart.
Good.
Like, it's not be like I'm not. It's gonna be like you won't see this coming. It's like no, it knows that this doll's going to like this robot doll is going to
kill everybody.
Or something's going to happen, and that's fine. And yeah, there's some cool stuff. I don't want to talk about it because you're gonna watch it, and it'd be better to be a surprise.
I will. I'm gonna watch Mithrigan. I'm gonna watch the Shamalagog, and we can talk about all of it. I can give you insight about the book.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I gave the book away after I read it.
Oh, good. That bad, huh?
I wasn't a fan.
Now you're gonna watch the movie.
But I will watch the movie. Yes, because I am a Batista fan.
That's not a good reason to watch it. Let me tell you.
I know, but I like Batista, and I read the book. I'm gonna watch it. Like
there is some, the M Night stuff in this. Ooh.
I wonder though if it is M Night or if it's what the book actually had. I'll see.
It's M Night, man.
The book's got some twists and turns.
You'll be able to tell me, but I feel like there's some M Night man there and there.
Probably.
So yeah. So we'll talk about those next time, I guess.
Sure.
But hey, I watched actually a pretty cool little movie.
Did you?
And I both called The Wax Mask. So this is a 1996 Italian giallo.
Oh yeah.
This was co-written by three folks, but two out of the three, Dario Argento and Lucio Fulci.
Lucio Fulci?
So this movie, it's no great knocks by any means, but it looks gorgeous. Like this movie looks so nice, bright colors, and a horror movie. Pretty straightforward stuff. It's kind of another Murder at the Wax Museum. It's that type of thing. If you kind of know where things are going to go no matter what. It's when you watch this on a Shudder, perhaps, or actually maybe it's Tubi. One of the two. I get them confused after a while. It's dubbed, which is unfortunate, but it's fine. But sometimes there's parts where it's in Italian and there's no subtitles, and you go, "Oh, I guess they forgot." But you get the meaning. It's for like 5 seconds, 10 seconds. But yeah, it's just the classic tale of a weirdo who runs a wax museum, and he's probably killing people and using their bodies for the wax base, and that's it. And it's a mystery, and you get weird Christopher Lambert haircuts on men.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like that.
Brothels. You get some brothels
The
action.
what? Sorry.
Brothels.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a word. People say
Mhm.
that. Yeah, very
Good.
questionable. Some very questionable haircuts in
Mm.
here though. Some weird, highly cut hair. But yeah, I don't know. This movie's cool. I would definitely recommend RJ you
For me,
throw it onto a list and get around to watching it
I'll
sometime.
probably watch it next year. I'll forget and I'll say, "Hey, you ever heard of this?" And you'll say, "Yeah, I
Yeah,
told you to watch it last year." And
yeah.
I'll say, "Nah, it's probably not."
You probably didn't do that.
No, I wouldn't do something like that. Is it on
No.
Tubi?
Uh, yeah, it's that or
Nice.
Shutter. You got access,
Nice.
and it's
Okay.
not super, and it's only like 90 minutes. 98. Oh,
The 98.
the 98 minutes.
Wow. I like that too, actually.
But I did a little bit of rambling there. RJ, tell me about how bad the house's October build is.
It's just stupid
Yeah.
because like at every point in this movie it's like, guys, go home. It's like just drive home. They're like so okay, it says film crew traveling around, checking out all the extreme haunts. They're like, we gotta find the scariest haunt. And they go to one and they do something bad. And then the people there are like, hey, you shouldn't do that. And they're like, oh, sorry, whoops. And then like they travel like 2-3 hours on the road and then they see the same people, like one or two of the same people, and they're like, hey, wasn't that the person from like 3 days ago? It's weird that they're here. And it's like, go home. It's like clearly something bad has happened. At one point, the trailer is surrounded by like 50 people in like masks, and
Yes.
then someone's like, drive through them. It's like, no, I can't. They'll just leave. And they just wait it out, and then all the people leave, and it's like, see, I told you they'd leave. And it was like, what? What? And then the next day, like a couple of the characters are like, we should just go home. And they're like, nothing happened. It's not even that bad. And it's just like, what do you mean nothing happened? What are you talking about, you guys? And like one of the people comes into the RV and they like film them sleeping, and the guy's still like, nothing really happened. And it's just like they were filming you sleeping. What are you talking about? And they uploaded it on your phone, and it's just like it's the weirdest thing. So I can't describe it, but every character in this, I feel like their favorite song is Freebird, and I don't know why.
Is that
but
because of the Devil's Rejects?
I think so. Like it might be like, but the good characters and the bad characters in this, every single one of them, that's their favorite song.
Oh, we gotta give the description of this movie, RJ. The house
Uh,
October built.
I,
Beneath the fake blood and cheap masks of countless haunted house attractions across the country, there are whispers of truly terrifying alternatives. Looking to find an authentic, blood-curdling good fright for Halloween, five friends set off on a road trip in an RV to track down these underground haunts. Yeah, it's like the real haunt circuit.
the
Just
real
when
haunt.
their search seems to reach a dead end, strange and disturbing things start happening, and it becomes clear that the haunt has come to them. Do you remember that episode of Shockwaves where they were talking about haunts and like
Oh
talking
yeah.
about the
We got a
man?
problem here, pal.
Well, man, yeah, he was. I think I'm ready for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think I could toughen out.
The extreme. I think one of those dudes was like, yeah, I could be into the extreme haunt where you sign up and they follow you for a month, and it's like, what?
And they beat you. They'll beat you in the thing. You're paying for it, though. I could do that. I'll fight
Why?
that. I think it's like I think you want to. I think you want to run one of these. Just abuse people.
Well, exactly, and it's just like I know people probably do sign up for shit like that. It's like one time this month they want you to just jump me and like do something to the butts, and then it's just like what?
Yeah.
You're like, but why?
But why? But why? I noticed
But
you didn't.
why?
I noticed you didn't watch the sequel.
Okay, so wait, I got okay. So this movie is like it's not very good, and at every time it is what's really frustrating about found footage horror, where at every opportunity it's just like people are like, oh, you're fucking exaggerating, get out of here. And it's
They're
like I know those people exist in real life,
Sure.
but like I just found it annoying in this. I was like, just leave, you guys, just
And they're
go.
very unlikable actors.
Yeah,
playing these characters.
Well, like a couple of the scenes of the character building is like the dudes like bringing girls back to the trailer, being like, "Yeah, we're making a movie. You want to be on it?" And it's just like, "Show me your like movie face," and you're just like, all right, man." But one thing that's really weird. Okay, so spoilers to this, Jarrett. Spoilers to this movie. Spoilers.
Yeah.
But the end of this movie,
Mm-hmm.
the haunt gets too real. It's too extreme, and the people get buried in coffins. Here's what I noticed: there's 3 men and 1 woman. The 3 men get buried in coffins that have like satin lining and like pillows. You know what kind of coffin the woman gets buried in?
A wood box.
A wood box. And I was watching this and I was like, wait, how come all the dudes get satin coffins? How come the girl is in the wood box? And I went, is this a misogynistic movie?
Or is it all set up?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Oh,
I maybe didn't see the last minute of this movie because I saw the description of House October 2 built, and I was like, and it was like recovering from trauma. I was like, wait a minute, they lived? In my mind, they all died.
But
I don't know if I was just trying to make a better movie.
Yeah, it turns out it's all well. It all turns out it's a fake.
Yeah,
they're all in on it. But then the second one, that's when they get the drone footage. That's when the drones show up.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I haven't
watched the drones.
See, I haven't been keeping track of this though. But man, oh man, I've been seeing some fucking drone footage this month. Holy fuck!
You gotta take that shit.
Wow, I'd have to go back, and it's impossible now.
I mean, it is impossible. But you gotta take it. You gotta take it. Yeah, so in my mind, everyone died at the end of this movie, and then I saw the description of 2, and I was like, wait a minute. Like honestly, I was like, wait, they lived? I was
it
like,
was
is that really how that movie ended?
And they go like to get the band back together. It was a joke. It was a joke. It sucks. Sucks.
And that's where the real extreme haunt starts?
Yeah.
The real one.
Oh, not great.
I'm with you on that one. That
movie. No, I think the second one's all about the second one's all about like guns and real guns and who's got the real gun, who's got the fake gun, and it's like super double fake outs and stuff. Oh yeah, it's
out of here, you guys.
Oh not good.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Hey, you ever seen Hospital Massacre, aka X-Ray?
X-Ray. You know what? I have. I watched it one time back in 2014, and according to Letterboxd, I was not a fan at all.
Hey, you know what we're finding is there's a lot of movies we watched 9 or 10 years ago that it's like, was it bad? Was it good? I'll never know.
I'll never
gonna watch
out.
it again.
Well, maybe I should. Our RJ's throwing down 3 stars.
I gave it a 3-star.
That's fascinating.
So if you want to look it up on Tubi, you have to look up X-Ray.
That's fine.
Not Hospital Massacre.
I can see I can find that poster. It's very they used it for both titles.
But I typed in Hospital Massacre on the fucking the controller, like going letter by letter, and nothing came up, and I went, "What the fuck?" And then I looked it up, and it was like X-Ray, and I was like, "Son of a bitch!" And then it just pops up right away.
Son of a bitch.
Did you happen to read my review of this film?
I did.
Okay, so here's why I kind of like Hospital Massacre. So Hospital Massacre has a lot of the generic 80s slasher stuff, where this is like a black glove slasher where it's like, who's the killer? Nobody knows. Like a lot of the time it's just like you don't see them, they're always covered up, their faces. But I really like how they portray the hospital, because it is literally like all of the horrors and despair of humanity, and it's just like the most horrific things, and it's just brief glimpses. They'll just pass by a room and you'll go, wait, what? You go, what was in that room? What was in there? So like one time they pass a room and it's just like 7 dudes in beds, like all in one bed basically, and they're all on ventilators. And then the next scene will be of people on stretchers and they're just like shaking uncontrollably. Or they'll look at and it'll be a lady sitting on a bench and she's just like swinging her head in circles. And then they'll pass another room and it's like 9 guys in body casts, like full body casts, and you're just like, what's going on in this hospital? It's also where people could just like smoke in hospitals, which I thought was cool. But I think this movie's got a couple neat kills, and I think it's got a really a really nice intro. Do you remember what the intro to this movie is, like with the
I
kids?
don't.
Okay, so it's like a guy and girl, like a brother and sister, and they're playing trains. And there's a little boy staring in through the window, and he's like, and he's like the same age as them, but you're like, all right. And there's a knock on the door, and the two kids are like, who's that? And they go get it, and it's like a Valentine. And then the kids go back to the train set, and they open it up, and the kid's watching through the window, and it's like, dear, like, dear Julie, or like Jill, or whatever, and it's like, be my Valentine, love Timmy. And then the brother's like, Timmy, what a loser, and he like crumples it up, and he's like, ooh. And he throws it across the room, and the girl's like, haha, you tell him, brother. I'm gonna go get a piece of cake. You want one? And he's like, yeah, sure. And then like the Timmy guy is like in the window, and he's like, and he's getting all frustrated. And so girlfriend goes to get some cake. She comes back, and then she's like, Bill, where are you? And she looks, and she's like, ah. And he has been like spiked on like a coat hanger. And she looks at the window, and it's the little kid, and he's like, and then he runs away, and then it's like hospital massacre. And I was like, what? I was like, what? I was like, what is this movie? And then there's the rest of the movie. So I just thought it was a really neat intro. I was like, well, it's kids killing other kids. I was like, you don't see that a ton.
Yeah.
And then the way he dies is he gets impaled on a coat hanger, and I was like, that's kind of a grisly death for like an 11-year-old, but all right. I imagine one of the reasons you probably didn't like this movie is because there is a 10-minute scene of a physical with this woman where the doctor's like, you need a physical right now. And like part of you, the doctor's kind of like, is he a red herring? Is he the killer? Is he not the killer? You don't know, but he does give a physical for 10 minutes, and it's just like the girl naked on her body. He's like, let me see your breasts. And she's like, okay. And then he's like, says, these are definitely breasts. It's like stuff like that. And you're just like, what? So it's not a great movie, but I got some enjoyment out of the all of the like the bad stuff in the hospital,
Sure.
that kill, and there's a full body burn in this too, which I always like to take.
Yeah, right.
Like my next movie, which also had a full body burn. Jarrett, do you know about the bees?
Do I know about the bees? This is one of the highlights of my Creeptober last year. The bees.
A Tubi pick.
Yeah, this was a random. I was just watching this at the kitchen table. At some point, Kim had to do something.
And you're like, I'll throw on the bees.
Yeah, no, I think it was as simple as that. And I watched the bees. Yeah, I think she was giving a talk or something like upstairs. And yeah, I watched the bees, and I was laughing out loud, and it was like giddy watching this bizarre film, this disaster political thriller, and about like bees killing people.
I mean, bees do kill people.
Yeah,
once in a while.
Yeah, mutant bees.
Yeah. They didn't
take back the earth.
They're Al Gore bees.
We're going to have to bees. Yeah, we're going to have to coexist with them now.
Yeah. I didn't make a review of this, but if I had it, one of the notes I had was some of the bee sounds sound like farts, and that's funny. So sometimes the bees are like, bzz, but it's like, and I was like, in my mind, oh man, that was good stuff. So anyways, you have these bees. There's lots of talk of Africanized bees and like mixing with a different strand of bees, which has created a more volatile kind of bee, a murder bee. Yeah. You have researchers, you have politicians, you have like common folk. Basically,
don't forget the frozen bee sperm.
Well, that happens too. Yeah. And there's a line in there like something after that, and it's like they say something, and someone goes, "Nothing artificial about that," and it's like, "What?" Which I thought was really funny. But common folks, sometimes there's like people trying to steal the honey, and then the bees kill them, and you're like, "You dumb bastard! Don't take the honey, you idiot!" And then you find like like a professor and his like niece, and they're studying the bees, and the professor can talk to the bees.
John
Uh,
Carradine, one of
yep,
the great one of Charles Band's favorite people.
absolutely. This real 70s stuff I found. So
Oh
like
yeah,
the guy, like, because there's diplomacy, but then there's like secret agent, like killers, and then there's like a monster, and then there's like John Everyman, who's like John
John Saxon,
America, John Saxon,
who
who's
literally
just
plays a
John
character
America.
named John Norman, which is
Exactly.
odd. You have the Normans, you have the Saxons.
You have the Saxons, they're all there. So he's kind of like a military guy who's like the peace guy in between. Uh, and so like the scientist is like trying to, he's like, I can talk to the bees. I will figure this out. I know the bees. And they're like, all right, man, if you know the bees, sure, whatever. Um, but then you find out one of the politicians is like, is he maybe doing something with the bees that he shouldn't be doing with the
Oh
bees?
no.
But there's some really funny stuff in this. Like there's a scene where the niece is like cleaning a beehive, and it's like the uncle who's the old man
Yeah.
and John Saxon, and they're watching, and John Saxon's like, "Whoa, look at the jugs on this broad." Like he says something like that.
Yeah.
Basically, he's like, "I could watch this all day," and the guy is like, "That's my niece," and he's like, "She has great genetics, just like me. She's very attractive." And John Saxon's like, "Well, we'll see who she kisses when she comes back, you or me." And he's like, "It's my niece. She gonna kiss me. I'm a handsome old man." And you're just like, "What is going on in here?" And then she comes in and she's like, "I like you both." and then they all laugh, and you go, "What?"
uh,
So there's some of that.
yep.
There's some hitman who come in, and you get some really good
Yeah.
70s stunt work.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's some good 70s kicks and like karate chops, and you're just like, oh yeah, okay. And then there's a kill where it's like, shut up, and then he puts a beehive on a guy's head, and you go, oh shit, he beehived that guy's head.
Yeah. I think there's
You get
some. I think there's some shooting bees.
yeah, some that people do try to shoot bees at certain points, and you're just like, I don't know if that's gonna work, you guys.
Yeah.
Um, there's the biggest cell phone of all time, which I put on the Discord. That's a phone. It's hard to see in the
Mhm.
picture. Like you need to see it moving. It is like it's the size of a microwave, basically, is how big this phone. He's like, hello? He's like, is this the contract killer? I'm contracting you to kill somebody. And it's just like, what? um
So the other thing I didn't write this down, but now it's coming back to me too. Is like this movie is this like massive like I think it's this like odd right wing movie because it is just
yes.
this like total ripping on Jimmy Carter. Like it is just like a damning take on like Jimmy Carter's failure as a statesman and how corrupt it was, and it's very odd that way because it's like watching it now you're like, oh, this like these guys really had it out for Jimmy Carter.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a lot of that, and then there's a lot of weird. There's really weird stock footage in this of like planes crashing and stuff like that, and it's like stock footage, so it's actually planes crashing, but they're like showing that it's like the bees, basically getting these planes. But you're watching it, and you're like, that's really a plane crashing, and you're like, why am I seeing this right now? You're like, that's strange.
Mhm.
Um, but other than that, there's also like oh, what is it? Oh, I was just gonna say. No. Oh yeah, there's like an environmental message. So
Yeah.
the doctor can eventually communicate with the beehive, and you're just like, oh okay, like the bees are talking, and they're basically like, you're killing the earth, so we will kill you. And then you're just like, and at the end of this movie is John Saxon like at the UN, and he's just
Yep.
like, listen, you guys, everybody, listen. The bees want to save the earth, and if we don't listen to them, they'll kill us. And everyone's like, they're crazy, don't
Yeah.
listen to them, they're nuts. And you're just like, you're like, wait, you guys, maybe
Listen,
it is the bees.
maybe it is the bees.
So there's that, which is pretty
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
Yeah,
The bees.
the bees, just pretty incredible stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So, anyways, you want to hear about more? You want to talk about more?
I'll rip through some here.
Okay, wait. Before we do,
What?
I think
What
we need
now?
a 2-minute break. I gotta go check on my wife. I gotta go use the toilet, and then I'll be right back. And then we can keep going.
Fine.
How's that sound?
Sounds wonderful.
Okay, let's go both use the toilet for 2 minutes.
Okay, we'll do that.
Okay.
Different toilets. Jay, do you know a movie called Evil Ed?
Oh no, Jarrett. I know a movie called Evil Ed. Do you?
I do now.
And tell me what you know about Evil Ed.
Well, I know when his mind blows, anything goes. And that Edward is a friendly, harmless film cutter on the culture department. After a suicide accident, he is put on the mission to cut the Loose Limb series. The blood, gore, and violence causes him to start to go insane. Edward slowly turns into Evil Ed. That's the movie.
Tell me more about how much you like Evil Ed.
Well, I want to know what your experience with Evil Ed was. It might even it's from a long time ago, I think.
Well, I got your list open here. I'll click on Evil Ed. Let's see when I logged Evil Ed. 2014, which seems to be the theme this year. Movies I watched 9 years ago, you're watching.
Yeah.
Movies you watched 8 years ago, I'm watching.
Yep.
Now, as it happens, it seems that I gave this film a half a star.
Half star. One of the worst films that ever existed, according to Jorge here.
Well, I mean, we all know that ratings mean nothing.
Yeah.
Right. But I am seeing that Bill Moseley is in this, so
He does. So I was watching this, and then there's this bit where you overhear the footage that Ed is editing, and I hear some like very like incoming mail kind of sound. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, that's Bill Moseley's voice. I'm like, why is his voice on here? And then I open up the letterbox, and I saw on the cast that he's actually got a credit, and his special voice appearance. And it's like,
okay.
So he is in this to a degree, just his voice, and it's his unmistakable like Rufus T. Firefly, whatever his character's name is in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. It's that Bill Moseley voice, which I love, RJ. As you know,
I know you do.
As I said, it's a great voice.
You and Corpse are bonded over that, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So this Evil Ed business, though, I don't know. I'm not a fan of this movie, RJ. I can say half star. No, that's crazy. But I would be like probably giving this about a 2 or so.
Well, I can rescind my half because, as we know, things have changed between me and you, so some ratings aren't exactly accurate anymore. I just remember not really liking this movie.
That's fair. This movie is pretty monotonous. It opens up with a guy going crazy, and then it's got the boss, I guess, of the culture department. Oh, is a man who talks like this, and because he's been dubbed, and he's an asshole, and that's his gimmick. And the guy blows himself up with a grenade, and the guy is like, "Oh boy, here we go." And then he gets this stiff shirt from another department as an editor, and there's this weird, like, horror micro genre of film editor as like the basis for a horror film. There's that censor.
Yes.
There's also the editor.
Yes.
Barbarian Sound Studio, whatever it's called. That would definitely fit into this too. This idea of like a man, like this like weird. I don't know what.
If all you do is watch horror, you're gonna be bad.
Or this idea that it has an effect on you, and he starts impacting your sanity. There's one really like this starts off okay, and I was kind of like, oh, I don't know, this is kind of cool. Like this is it does fit into my Eurovision tag, where there's this like vision of these European movies trying to make American movies, but they're very like fakey, bubbly looking, and I love the look of it. I was like, you look at the movie like the Lift. That sort of has what this has too, but those movies like Lift and what's the other one? The other guy's film that he directed. the boat with the
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam. Yes.
Yeah.
Those are like super cool, and Evil
Mhm.
Ed is less so, and very like one note. So he starts editing the film, and you see some like bad like redux of like a slasher film that doesn't resemble anything that slasher films are like. And he starts cracking, he starts losing his mind. Then there's like kind of a delivery guy. He's got his
Mm.
girlfriend that he makes out with a dude who wears a sock half on a foot. We've all been there, we've done that.
Who hasn't?
With very pronounced fangs. I
Mhm.
noticed, and I was like, what is this man, a werewolf? And
Was he?
so no, you
Oh.
never see him again. But there's this like great moment where in his hallucination he sees himself as sort of this like hellraiser, like god of death, and he's having
Hmm.
a conversation. It's so good. And then it's never like that ever again. And it's just him like
Uh,
killing people as they visit the house. Um, and I don't really buy the whole he's crazy evil Ed.
mhm.
And then the last like 30 minutes are all in the mental hospital. I think. Yeah, he gets in a straitjacket, and of course, oh, he's been sedated. We can take it off of him. The murderous maniac that killed like 5 people,
Sure.
or whatever it is. And then they do a gimmick where they send in like the SWAT team, and it's like this kind of super cheeseball 80s style paramilitary SWAT team that apparently can't take out this unarmed man with machine guns, and they all get taken out by him after he takes one of their guns, and is better at shooting at it than they are.
Mhm.
And then the movie just kind of wraps up, and
Mhm.
you never think about Evil Ed again, and you go, that was a real missed opportunity. Anders Jacobsen,
I
who
mean,
apparently is just like worked out this style of thing again. There's what is this? Evil Ed. It's a no-brainer. You keep them heads rolling. I'll look at the making of the Swedish bladder classic Evil Ed. He directed his own making of like in 2016, probably for when the Blu-ray came out. Then he did a film with another guy named Insane from 2010.
hmm.
I'm not seeing a lot of love. Seen a lot of love, but that doesn't mean anything. People don't know what they're talking about sometimes. But yeah, there's a really cool demon bitness. But other than that, the movie kind of just exists. It's very blue as well. Like it's just one color that dominates every shot. It seems blue, blue, blue. I think it's a little old.
Really?
Yeah. Do you remember the blueness? Do you remember anything about Evil Ed?
About Evil Ed? No, I don't actually.
No.
Not really. I just remember that when I watched it, I went, I don't like this.
Yeah, I can imagine that. So,
Especially 9 years ago, Jared.
you know, yeah, you would have thought this was a little too goofy. A
This was
little,
pre-Martyrs. You got to remember that.
or there was martyrs.
Or there was Martyrs.
Not sure about the connection, but okay. All right.
Well, you know.
Yep.
Not as good as E.T.
Then Kim and I watched another great piece of Tubi cinema,
Hmm?
I Madman from 1989, directed by Tibor Takics.
Sounds good.
This is a movie I'd seen the MGM DVD of on like A&B sound shelves, and
Hmm.
it was like $14.99, sometimes on sale for $11.99, and I just like looked at it all the time. And I don't know. I don't think this is gonna be very good. Like I heard nobody talk about this. Nobody
Hmm.
says shit about it. You look up reviews at the time. It's like, oh, this is pretty skippable. Pretty skippable. Famous last words. But you know what? That's when you were buying physical media. But now we live in the age of the stream, and everything is
Hmm.
just available. You just let it flow through you. So, what's this I Madman all about?
Yeah, what
A,
is it
a
about?
tagline is lose yourself in a good book.
Oh,
A
dear.
bookshop clerk starts seeing the disfigured killer from her favorite 1950s pulp novels come to life and start killing people around her. It's a very misleading synopsis, I gotta say. So,
Hmm.
what's this all about? It opens up with a like kind of 1950s pastiche in an apartment involving this maniac man in a dark robe. It's kind of like dark manish, like
Mm.
fedora and masked face. It's actually more like the shadow, I guess,
Duncanish.
Duncan-esque.
Yeah.
And he's a killing, he's a slaying ladies. And then of course we transition. No, actually, that's not how it opens. It opens up with it's like a hotel, and this man leaves, who's like kind of hisses. He's kind of like a Count Orlok kind. He leaves, and then a phone call comes to the front desk saying that there's a dog barking or something, or making sounds next door in the room of the very man who just left. And so the hotel inspector goes and checks things out, and it walks in and finds like a whole mess of like mad experiments and stuff like that. And then of course he finds an old like treasure chest, tickle trunk, and it's got holes punched in it, and it makes sounds, and it's breathing. And of course, as he's looking around, looking at all these things, it's disgusting. There's like food rotting everywhere, chemistry kits, blah blah blah. The kit of the box opens up, and inside is a stop motion monster thing, like in the movie The Gate. And then it's like terror. And then of course next door we get to this woman who's hanging out in bed or on a couch, and she hears the sound. She would have been the one who probably complained downstairs, and then the door gets burst open and she's startled, and then it transitions, and it's the reader, Jenny Wright, reading this book, this pulp book. And she gets spooked out by this. It's all too scary for her. Spooked and so she calls her boyfriend, who's a cop, and I think she goes back to reading, and inevitably she hears a knock at the door, and it's her boyfriend, and they canoodle, and of course he's like, I don't know why you read this crap. And then the next day she goes back to her job. So she works at like this like used bookstore, this gigantic book warehouse in Los Angeles. And she's like, we just got this estate sale, and this is one of the books in it. I'm kind of curious about this author. So saying it's like one of her favorite 1950s pulp novels is a bit of a stretch, because there's only two books that this person wrote, and she's just read one of them, and she proceeds to read the next one. And it kind of also stars this same masked character, and she's intrigued by it. But as she reads it,
is it Havoc?
It's
the Oma?
Oh, you wish. No, it's just a guy who's got like no nose, no lips, no ears. But it's kind of like a Candyman type deal. But not as good. Not as good as Candyman. But yeah, he starts like killing people and starts assembling his face so he can come back to her. She's an actor. She's an aspiring actress who's very jealous of this red-haired woman, and this guy kills that red-haired woman and takes her scalp. So now he's got red hair for the rest of the movie. That kind of thing.
That old chestnut.
That old chestnut. A little bit of fun. This movie's like absolutely watchable. You want some harmless 1980s horror fun.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
But he's not an Oma or a Havoc?
He's not. Not even a Charles, not even a Robert Bronzy to see.
Oh.
No.
Less interesting on my end, I gotta say. But
yeah, I bet.
You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not saying it's bad.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, if Havoc isn't in it, and if, like, Oma isn't in it, like, I don't know.
And then we watched In the Mouth of Madness. Everyone knows that movie's...
It's a great show.
Great show.
A+.
Then I watched Brain Dead from 1990. Directed by one Adam Simon, who also directed the film Carnosaur, which is and Body Chemistry too. But this Brain Dead movie, this poster, freaked me out when I was a kid. One of those,
it's scary.
Yeah, it's scary. It's just like a guy's face stretched out, and he's looking at you. They're very terrifying. But this is the movie I mentioned earlier. That's about the two Bills: Bill Pullman, Bill Paxton, and Bud Cort. Bud Cort shows up.
You kind of buried the lead on that. You're talking about the Bills, but what about the Bud?
And George Kennedy once more. This is two George Kennedys in like a month.
Pretty good shot, if you ask me.
Too bad. So what's this movie about? It's about brains, RJ. It's about brains.
Oh, okay.
Bill Pullman is the earnest scientist doing experiments on brains, and he's approached by his scumbag old friend who he got the girl from in college, but now one's far more successful and one's just a scientist. Bill Paxton, he shows up, all slick back, real evil corporate kind of guy, but he needs some help. He needs some help from Bill Pullman because one of their accountants at the firm has gone psycho. Apparently, has killed his wife and kids. And he's maybe just done this as a cover, which makes zero sense.
Okay.
But because he's got a formula in his head and he doesn't remember it anymore, and they need to either they either need to cure him so they can get the number, or make it so he can never remember by
Never
wiping
sleep
it
again,
out.
hey?
Yeah, and so they are using some fandangled technology. Bill Pullman has to convince Bud Cort's character, who's in the sanitarium, to go along with the surgery. And yeah, we get the surgery scene, and it's just like open skull surgery. There is a bit though that one might sleep on, is because while this is all, there's a lot of deliberation going on back and forth. Bill Pullman's character is leaving the lab with a brain, and this homeless man sees this and he goes, "That's my brain. That's my brain. You got there." Because it's a crazy homeless person, and they start fighting over the brain jar. And Bill Pullman doesn't want to give it up because he's like, "Well, that's property, and then that's a person's brain. I can't just hand it over to this dude." And he kind of pulls it off, runs away, and gets hit by a car. And
if I had a nickel,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Classic scene working with brains. So anyway, he goes and performs this surgery on Bud Cort. We get these images of like him seeing his family that he's killed, trying to cure him to get the company what it wants. And everything kind of works out because apparently he can now he's been fixed of his mental ailment, and everyone starts applauding Bill Pullman. But then he starts seeing this figure, this mysterious man in white who Bud Cort's been saying was the one who actually killed his wife. And he's like, we eliminated, that was a psychosis, so we got rid of it. But now it's in Bill Pullman's head. And so Bill Pullman goes to a restaurant, RJ, and he's starting to have a breakdown. Like he's having some sort of issues. Like maybe this is a concussion at work, and he's acting very peculiar. And he kind of blows this meeting of George Kennedy because they thought maybe they'd be able to take this new technology to like really start curing people, curing humanity. But he's all goofy and making no sense. He leaves, and then he starts suspecting that his wife is having an affair with Bill Paxton. He shows up, and he apparently sees Bill Paxton and his wife just in the throes of passion, and he goes over to them and just stabs their eyes out. Just rips their eyes out. Passion?
Yeah.
Grinding, RJ. Just grinding away on top of Bill Paxton the way we all want to. So, yeah. So anyway, he wakes up and he's in the hospital, and his doctor is the doctor who's Bill Pullman's in the hospital, and he sees this doctor who's the guy that he thinks is stalking around, causing trouble, killing people, and now he's there, and they're saying he's crazy, and they're saying that we had never dealt with that before, and it's like, oh, what's going on inside of his head? What's going on? And it's like Inception, RJ.
Is it?
No, it's not.
Is it like Identity?
Another prime example of what's real, what's taking place inside the mind, and a movie that doesn't really like play fair or doesn't have doesn't have it really figured out totally. My understanding, this was a brushed off screenplay that was rejected by Roger Corman back in the day. Julie Corman resurrected, and this apparently was the best one. This was written by co-written by at least Charles Beaumont, who also wrote like The Mask of the Red Death, Burn Witch Burn, Intruder with William Shatner back in the day. This could have been a very cool looking movie back in like the 60s and the 90s. It's kind of interesting that you got Pullman and Paxton in this movie. Like I consider that pretty star-studded, but
both of them at once?
At once.
You better believe it, pal.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's brain dead. The ending just made me mad, and I was just like, "Yeah, fuck this movie." I didn't mind watching it, but then the ending was just like, "Ugh."
Classic brain dead.
Classic brain deading. Yep.
Got him.
RJ, tell me about Hell Night.
Oh my god, have you seen Hell Knight?
Yeah, once. Not great.
It's like a frat house thing, and it's like all you new dudes. You want to be in a frat, you gotta spend a night in a haunted house, man. And it's like the older guys are like, we're gonna play spooks on you guys. And when I wrote his review, when I watched this, I was like, it's like just get drunk like normal people. Like, why do you gotta like all these elaborate schemes to like get these like enjoyment out of these things? It's like, come on, fuck. So, anyways, so it's a frat house thing, and what's her face is in this? Is it Linda Blair?
It is definitely Linda Blair.
Yeah. So Linda Blair is in this, and she's a girl that's brought her along, and the entire time she's like, "This is dumb." She's like, "Why are we doing this?" And she's like the final girl, but her whole thing is just like, she's like, "This is kind of a stupid thing that we're doing. Do you guys see that?" And everyone's like, "No, man, it's for the frat." So they're all in costumes, and they get dumped at this house, and it's like, legend has it, man, that like this boy killed his whole family, man, and he like still lives here. Can you dig it? And they're like, oh shit, we can't dig it. So they're in the house, and then like the four older frat dudes, like the one guy, he's made out to be a piece of shit really early. He's like, as soon as you see him, you're like, oh, that dude's the resident piece of shit here. Okay. He's like the leader, and it's like, yeah, we're gonna spook these guys good. So they're going around setting up traps. But wouldn't you know, Jarrett, the legend was true. There is a man in this house, and he is a underground chud with tunnels. Which is I always find like I find tunneling chuds is like this strange like separate genre of movies that I do kind of like. Now like Hell Knight is not a good movie by any means. Like this is a real 2-star affair. You watch it, and a lot of this movie you go, oh, okay, all right. Especially because this movie's an hour 50 or something like that. Like it is way too long.
Way too long for a slasher. Yeah.
Yeah. And so a lot of this movie is really boring. Like a lot of the movie is like a guy and a girl. It's like, we just met tonight, but we have to bunk out because this house is haunted. And then the guy's like, you want to hang out? And she's like, no, you're staying on that side of the bed. And it's like, okay. And then it like that's like a 10-minute scene, and you're just like, oh my god, all right. There's actually a couple like neat kills in this movie. I was like, oh yeah, I was like, that's kind of cool. And I do like underground tunnel chud, man. Like he's just a big dude. Like he's not like supernatural in any way. He's just like a really big like hidden from society for 30 years kind of dude, which are always the most dangerous chuds, you know, Jarrett.
How does he sound?
He just makes like noises, like he can't talk because he's been underground for 30 years.
Right.
But the one funny thing in this was like one of us surfer dudes like, I'm gonna get the cops, man. And he goes, and the cops are like, yeah, we know all about your frat house. We're not falling for it. And he's like, no, really, there's a dangerous killer, man. And they're like, no, we don't believe you. And he's like, all right. And he walks, and he sees a room full of guns, and he just goes in, and he just takes a bunch of the guns, and then he runs out, and then he goes back to the house with a bunch of guns now, and you're just like, oh, I guess that was easy.
Oh. Just like that.
Just like that. Linda Blair also like jump starts a car in like the weirdest way ever. She like sparks it on the engine. Like it's like, and it's like on the engine, but then the engine starts, and I was like, oh, I wouldn't have thought that would work, but all right. And then she drives a dude through some spikes, and you go, oh, that's cool. But
that's the movie.
Yeah, Hell Knight's not much to report.
Also, one thing I remember about this movie too is like all these characters are like talking about like, oh man. Like the Linda Blair character, she's so hot.
That is a prominent plot point.
Marty Gaines is her name, and I'm like, I'm unconvinced of this. Like I disagree.
Every character's like, well, who's that babe?
who's Chipmunk Woman?
You're like Azuzu. You're like, oh, okay. You know Azuzu.
No.
So, anyways, I can't.
And Linda Blair is a fucking shitty actor.
She's not great. Like
he's terrible.
Yeah, and they play her as like a tomboy in this. Like she's a tough kid, and you're like, that's a good fit for her as like that kind of character. But like, still, this Hell Knight is more like Boar Knight.
Boy.
Or Smell Night. Oh shit, that was the review. Smell Night. Damn it.
Damn.
That'll be better. Anyways, want to hear about the worst movie I've watched this month?
What? I see. Do I want to hear about Fritz Baum's Wildling from 2018? Why did you watch a Fritz Baum film that's got like a 2.5?
Brad Dourif is why I watched this.
Oh God.
I do know, like, I mean, I'm not a weirdo. Like, if I didn't watch a Brad Dourif movie, whatever. But it's like, if I can watch one, I will. And this was on Tubi, so I was like, oh, Brad Dourif movie. It's a horror movie. Yeah, I'll throw on Wildling. It's recent. It's got Liv Tyler in it. Like, I'll check this out. Oh man, this is one of the worst movies I've seen in a long time, Jarrett. A long time. It is so bad. So number one, the dialogue in this movie is so bad, and like I don't know how to describe it. Like, I don't think Liv Tyler is a bad actor, but like I feel like in her scenes there was cue cards, because I feel like they called her and they're like, "Can you be here tomorrow? It's like a 6-day shoot," and she's like, "Yeah, I'll be there." And it's like I feel like everyone in this except for Brad Dourif, like he's the only professional. I feel like they were given the lines the day of. It's like, here's what you guys got to say, and they're just reading these lines out. Like, it is one of the worst I've ever seen for that. But anyways, this movie cold opens, and it's Brad Dourif and a little girl, and she's like in an attic, and he's like, "You're my sweet little girl," and it's not weird. He's just like, "You're a sweet little girl." He's like, "We're gonna have a birthday party, and you're gonna be treated right here." And she's like, "Yeah, thanks, Dad." And then like it's like a montage of her bringing her birthday cakes, and then him like teaching her, and it's like how to read. And then she's like, "What's in the outside world?" And he's like, "The wildlings are out there, and they're gonna get you." And he's like, "That's why we can never leave." He's like, "You stay here with Dad, we never leave." And you're like, "All right, I see what's going on here." And then eventually she hits like puberty, and he starts like injecting her in the stomach, and you're like, all right. You're like, "Where's this gonna go?" And then something happens to a point where like she like either hears someone, or like something is happening, and Brad Dourif is like, "Okay, the injections aren't working anymore. Whatever they were doing," which you find out later, they're not working anymore. So Brad Dourif goes to her room, and he's like, "All right, baby girl, I'm sorry." And then he just like gun to the head shoots himself, and you're like, and he's like, "Wildling." And you're like, okay. There's like 15 minutes of this movie. So she goes to a hospital, and she's like wild. She's never seen another person ever in her whole life. She was told everyone is dead. And then she's in the hospital, and the doctor's like, "We got to get this girl into a support home." And Liv Tyler comes in, and she's like, "No, we ain't going to lock her up again. She's been locked up her whole life. We ain't going to do it again." She's like, "I'll take her." And then you're like, I don't know if that's a good idea. And then Liv Tyler like puts her in public school, and like, honest to God, like immediately there's boys like, "Hey, sweet thing," and they're like, "You ever seen porno?" And is like, "What?" And then she goes and like she gets taken to a party, and then like she like almost gets raped, and you're just like, "What the fuck is going on in this movie?" And like Liv Tyler's like, "I'll take care of her," but then you never see them interact again, and it's just like, was Liv Tyler offset that day? It's just like this kid living, and you're like, she's just.
I'm not even gonna be in the movie now, but you're adopted.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you're adopted now, and then she like, she's like gone.
Go to school.
Yeah, and Liv Tyler's so bizarre in this. It's like, it's almost like she's never talked to another human being before. Like the way she delivers her dialogue, it's so strange, dude. It is very, very bizarre. And then the rest of this movie kind of kicks in. So she almost gets raped, and then she kills the boy. And what you find,
what were the injections, RJ?
they were stopping her menstrual cycle, because at menstrual cycle is when the wildling kicked in, and the wolf, the Wolfenstein came.
This is a wolf. It's a werewolf.
It's a Wolfman movie, Jarrett.
Oh man,
with CGI fire.
Yep, they all have CGI fire now.
They all have CGI fire.
All movies need them.
There's like a scene where her like teeth are falling out, and she's like, "I'm sick." but she's like getting hair in places. She's like, oh no.
It's a metaphor for puberty.
Yeah, I know what ginger snaps tried to do.
And it did.
I know it did. But so anyways, like she's like turning into wolf, and then Brad Dourif shows up again, like, and he comes back before, and you're like, you lived? He's got like a band-aid on his face, and he's like, I was trying to protect you, girl.
From shooting himself.
He puts the gun in his mouth, and then you don't see him for like half an hour, and then he comes back, and you're like, you're alive?
He got
Right.
better.
And he's not in jail either. He's just like alive and not in jail for like enclosing this. Anyways, he comes back, and then the end of this movie is, so the raping, or she doesn't get raped. She kills the guy, and then like Liv Tyler had a son, and the girl has consensual relations with that son, and then she's pregnant immediately, and she's already like 5 months pregnant within a day or something, because that's Wolfman logic. And Brad Dourif's like, I let you live. I realized that was a mistake. He's like, I'm gonna do it right this time. He's like, I see you got baby in tummy. I'm gonna get baby out. So he starts a werewolf C-section.
Yeah.
Sure. But it's interrupted. The full moon comes, and she goes,
This would be a werewolf abortion, RJ. He's gonna get it out.
He explains it. He's going to start fresh with a fresh-born baby. His like mistake was that he found her too old or something. He's like, you were already a month old when I found you.
Too old
was the thing. He's like, I'll get it right this time. That's how he's talking in this movie. He's like, I'll get you right this time, and you're just like, oh my god. So she wakes up and she kills him, and then like the most bizarre ending in this movie. There's talk. It's like, you ever heard of the Northern Lights? Aurora Borealis, just like in the Langoliers, the Stephen King film.
That's right.
And the girl's like, it sounds magical. Where's that? And they're like, it's up north where the wild wings are. And then she's like, all right. So at the end of this movie, she's got a baby, and she goes up to the Arctic, and she sees the Aurora Borealis, and then a bunch of wolf people emerge. They're like, and she's like, I found my people. And you go, all right.
Well, RJ, I mean, it seems like it gave you everything you wanted. It gave you Brad Dourif, and it gave you werewolves, and you hated it. I can only add this to the RJ hates women list I've got going.
All I gotta say is,
with Ginger Snaps.
Ginger Snaps is just it's a movie that's promoting animal violence, which I'm not on board with. So whatever kind of like feminist message is in there, it doesn't matter to me, because I'm not down with the animal violence. Is the problem. But yeah, Wildlings, it's crazy, dude. You got to watch it sometime.
I think I'm good.
Yeah. So should I keep going? What's our clock at now?
Yeah.
3.5?
Just over 3.
Just over 3? Oh, because of 2 breaks.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
And that doesn't include the breaks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the breaks were short. It was just a little pee-pee.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Pee-pee.
I would like to hear about Jerusalem.
Okay, so I think you recommended this once, because I think you and I are both fans of biblical horror.
Yeah, this is found footage.
And it's a found footage biblical horror. So some of the stuff I actually really like in Jerusalem. This movie, I think, is so-so. There's some good stuff. There's some bad stuff. But the stuff that's enjoyable for me, the biblical horror, I think is cool. Like, so there's the angels, which it's like, yeah, that's cool. But I also like the Golgotha dude, who's just like, or like the big Goliath guy who's like walking around sometimes in this.
That's like, whoa. People are like, what are you talking about, guys? You talking about Noah? By Noah?
Okay, so in this movie, you get some hip young Americans, and they go to the motherland of Jerusalem. They're going to the homeland. Which is a contentious issue nowadays, but
that's one way to put it.
Yeah. So, well, there's things going on that I don't know enough about to comment on, is what I would say.
Very good.
Yeah. So, they go back to Jerusalem, and the main character girl, her dad is like this super sweet old Jewish man, and he's just like, here, I got you. He's like, I got you Google Glass. You take the Google Glass and you film your adventures, and you're just like, all right, sweet old man. So I actually do think that is kind of neat of a found footage thing where it's like the Google Glass and she like can't turn it off, and like that's kind of a plot point. She's like, Google Glass, stop, and it like just doesn't stop, and you're just like, all right. I think it's kind of neat. It's a neat way to take out the camera. But they go to the Jerusalem, and they meet some of the locals. They go out and stuff like that, and then some things start happening, and the city's about to be locked down. And then when the city's locked down, it's kind of like, okay, we have to escape the city now. And it's like, what do we do? And then things start happening.
Well,
and
there's also they meet a boy.
the cold, yeah, they meet a boy. But actually, I just remembered the cold open to this movie before you're introduced to anyone is a Vatican tape.
Yes.
So it's like, and it shows all of the religions. There's a priest, there's a rabbi, there's a like, you know, all the guys who walk into a bar together. They're all there, and they're like, we are all working together to destroy the evil.
This is the unbelievable team up you never dreamt you'd see.
This
must go beyond anything else to bring these all people together.
There's like a priest, there's a rabbi, there's whatever holy men are in like Islam and Buddhism or whatever. There's one of everybody. They're all there. Yeah. And the opening, like the credit things, is like there are 3 holes to hell. One of them is in the desert, one of them is in the sea, one of them is in Jerusalem, and it's like the Bible. And you're just like, oh shit, like openings to hell? That sounds crazy. So you see all the priests, and then it's like an exorcism, and they're like, ah, and they're like throwing the holy water on them, and it's like a girl, and she's like, and then wings kind of sprout out.
Yep.
And then a priest is like, we got to do it. And someone hands him like a pea shooter. Like, it's a gun that's like smaller than a finger, and he's just like, cast you to hell. And he just he kills that girl, and then she dies, and then the movie starts. Mm. So the lockdown happens, and then they meet a boy while they're there, and this boy, or actually he might be like traveling with them or something. It's kind of confusing.
He kind of joins with they meet him as like a fellow traveler.
Yeah, he's like also an American or something like that.
But he's there for a reason.
He's there for a reason, and he's there because of his research on the dark net.
Hell yeah.
He says, here's my research I found on the dark net. And it was the video from the cold open. He's like, something is happening in Jerusalem, and we're going to find it, kind of thing. So when the lockdown happens, this guy runs off, and main character girl is like, I got to find him, because they boned down the night before. And this is like the most bizarre scene in this movie is like, she puts her glasses on the nightstand, and then it's like filming her and the dude like in the sex scene. And out of nowhere, that is when the dad decides to text the girl like 7 times. And like, it's gonna sound like I'm exaggerating, and I'm honestly not. This is how the scene plays out. It's like, dad, and it's like, hope you're doing okay. I think you are so beautiful. You are my favorite thing in the world. You are the best daughter there ever is. You are my special girl. You are the best, and you have never done anything wrong, and you are beautiful. And it, like, all these texts come like as she's like with this dude, and you're just like, huh. You're kind of laying that one on thick, but all right. So anyways, that happens, and the lockdown happens. Dude runs away because he's trying to investigate. The girl's friend is trying to escape Jerusalem, and then you get a series of biblical horror events, is how I would describe it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have some angels, you have some Goliath type dudes, who are pretty cool. I think that stuff is all really cool. Like as I said earlier, like I think you and me both have kind of a soft spot for biblical horror.
For this potential.
Yeah, for the potential of what biblical horror could be, because it is cool. You get some Old Testament stuff in there, like you get some stuff like this, but nothing's really grabbed it yet. So Jerusalem, it's almost there. It's got some of that stuff there, but it does still have some of the classic trappings of what these films are. So I say it's a mixed bag.
The demony things are dropping down and picking people up.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. Demon
people are
guys,
turning into zombies.
Guys. Yeah, there's like the thing where it's like they get infected by the opening of hell, and they're like, and they puke blood for a second, and then they're like, and then they grow the angel wings kind of, and they turn into the demons.
The demons.
Yeah, so that stuff's cool. Like that's what I mean. Like I really like all the biblical horror stuff.
Right.
That stuff's wicked. And then it's just like all the other stuff. It's like just same old,
It's
same
there.
old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
really hate on this movie. Like
I don't
it's
think
not.
that's fair.
Yeah, I don't think it's that bad. It's
Yeah.
like fine. People really, it's like pretty lowly rated. A lot of like, this is like the worst thing you've ever seen. I'm like, well, you
That's
haven't
not
watched
fair.
Wildling yet.
They haven't watched Wilding. No, like I mean, it's got like a couple really good things going for it. Biblical horror is very cool, in my mind, and I actually do think the Google Glass idea is really. I think that's really like smart because it's like it takes out the camera, man. So it's just like this is just filming because it's on somebody's fucking Google Glass. So I like that idea, which I could see people making fun of really easily, but it's like. I don't think that's fair. I was like, that's actually a good idea. You're just mad you didn't come up with that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Should we talk about one more thing?
Mine are one each, yours
Well-
and mine.
Well, we can talk about our combined one thing. I've got a bunch of other things to talk
Uh,
about, but I don't know.
Yeah,
It's,
as do I. Well, not a bunch. I have a couple, but yeah. Why don't we talk about Robert Zombie?
let's talk about Robert Zombie.
Yeah, let's talk about Robert Zombie. You tell me about Robert Zombie.
Well, so at long last, like last year, we would have watched this,
Mhm.
but Canadian media rights hadn't figured life out yet because The Munsters came out in 2022 and it was supposed to be available on stream after some like kerfuffle about how
A
I
wide
wanna say-
release.
well, the fact that this was at one point supposed to maybe have a theatrical release, and then it definitely wasn't going to get one, and it was going to get in Robert Zombie made some claims that it was never meant to be released other than on stream,
Mhm.
and I'm like, I don't think that's true. I don't
You
think
go,
that's
I
true.
think someone watched this film and said no.
I don't think the market's ready for the Munsters. I don't think it's in the right place. So anyway, so this got put into streaming in the US, but not
Mhm.
here. And if you had, like for a period of time you had to like pay to watch this, and I was no way. I will watch this for free, just like the last two Robert Zombies I've watched,
Mhm.
which were not very good. And I'd seen the trailer for this Munsters that everyone else saw, and everyone went, "What the fuck? Why does it look like such a cheap piece of shit? Why is it in color? What is
Mhm.
this?" Like all the promotional images were black and white. Why is this in color? Why is it neon?
The neon
And-
light, the green
and
and the purple.
And it does like just look like it looks like cheap. It looks like it looks like the TV show probably was, which I'm not really too familiar with the Munsters. Or
You haven't
like
seen, but you assume it's not 5
it's
stars.
it's pop culture. It's pop culture fodder. I mean,
Oh,
it's
okay.
like I've seen more Addams Family episodes than I've seen the Munsters. With old Herman. So anyway, the music, of course, the Munsters is awesome. That's about all I remember of the Munsters. But yeah, anyway, so the time had come. This was now available to watch, and watch it. I did, as did RJ, after the fact. So prepare for the strangest love story ever told. Lily, played by Sherry Moon Zombie, is a typical 150-year-old lovelorn vampire who's looking for the man of her nightmares until she lays her eyes on Herman, a 7-foot-tall green experiment with a heart of gold. It's love at first shock as these two ghouls fall fangs over feet for each other in a Transylvanian romance. Unfortunately, it's not all smooth sailing in the cemetery, as Lily's father has other plans for his beloved daughter's future, and they don't involve her new bumbling beau.
I just noticed Sherry Moon Zombie is in the Toolbox Murders, the 2004 one.
Yeah.
So it all comes back together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, what were we talking about?
The Munsters.
Oh, sure we were.
Well, RJ, I just want to say that this movie is definitely not my thing. So this is like a kids movie, basically. It is not. It does not feel like a Rob Zombie movie, even though it's got all his cast and characters. It's got Richard Brake playing multiple characters. We even get Cassandra Peterson, old Elvira shows up here briefly. Dee Wallace, who's not really a Rob Zombie person, but Jeff Daniel Phillips, who showed up
Oh,
in
yes.
Halloween 2, Lords of Salem, 3 from Hell, 31. That fucking guy.
Yes.
He's here as Herman of all
He's
things.
here going
He's doing something.
over and over again.
Yeah. We have Sherry Moon Zombie.
Yep.
I mean, people always talk about how bad of an actor she is.
I think she's fine in this.
She
Actress.
She plays a great actor like this. Like she's doing this thing, and you're like, that's all there's going to be. And a lot of people make a big deal about Daniel Roebuck as the Count. I don't know, because to me, I'm like, I didn't even recognize him as Daniel Roebuck at all.
Neither did I.
And now I look and I go, oh, it's Cliff.
Yep.
It's Cliff from Matlock. He also has shown up in Rob Zombie movies. I totally forgot about that. Like 5 or 7, like 7 of them. Wild times.
I didn't recognize him either, but when I saw him, I went, "Oh, I know that guy."
Yeah, and then you have like I don't know, Jorge Garcia from like Adam Sandler movies, like Click, Ridiculous 6.
Oh, Jorge. Oh, from Lost.
Oh,
that's
Hugo. That's Hugo. Man, I did not recognize Hugo.
I had to look it up. I was like, that looks like Hugo, but they gave him fake teeth, and he's doing like a weird accent a little bit, but that's Hugo.
Did not know that was Hugo. It did not compute. All right. Yeah. So anyway, this movie, the first 2/3 of this movie are all set in Transylvania, which is a neon like dreamland. It's like almost like Nightmare Before Christmas. Sort of like it's like Nightmare, whatever it is, Halloween Town. This movie is, it's got characters just gradually show up. People don't blink an eye when there's a zombie. He just talks like he don't talk like this. There's TV broadcasts. It's a whole little city community, and you're just like, they're just going with this, but it doesn't feel explained. It's just sort of that. It's just
Transylvania is just a place where monsters live. So there's zombies, there's Draculas, there's Frankensteins, there's Gillmen. They're just all there, and everyone's just kind of cool with that.
Everyone's cool with that. Then people go on trips. Probably the best scene in the entire movie is I think when they're on vacation, like on a cruise. They won't say they're on a cruise or something near water, and they go Uncle Gilbert or something like that, and then it's the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Gill Man.
Yeah, it's Gillman. It's Gilbert or something like that, and he doesn't even say anything, and it's matter of fact, and you go, oh yeah. I mean, if this movie did more of what it's doing, and not like this, I would be totally okay with it. But this movie is also trying to be Rob Zombie comedy. What he thinks is funny in this well, not that kind of like weirdness where it's like raping people's funny. This is like this is what families think is funny. But this is like the shit where it's like Captain Spaulding comedy and the stuff I've seen in what's it, the that animated thing he did, Haunted World of El Super Beasto. I don't find his sensibility, his sense of humor, like at all mine. And so this was rough. This was real bad for me. Like on a production level, it's like, man, they put a lot of effort in. I cannot deny that. They went all out, and at the same time, you're like, oh, this is like the Munsters origin story, because like the last beat of the movie, it's like, oh, now it's a black and white film.
Now it's what the Munsters TV show was.
Yeah, and it's like, it all comes to this with him flying over to live in America, in Los Angeles,
the land of opportunity. Jared.
That's right, and Zombo,
Robert Zombo. Yeah, they talk about Zombo, and I use the Zombo tag, but I was like, Zombo, the king of Creepyland.
Yeah,
it's him.
Zombo.
So anyway, there's Zombo. That's cool.
Oh, but yeah.
So you're a big fan?
No, it's this movie. Just no. I don't know. I'm just not the child at heart in me is no more, or this is lame as hell, horror. And holy fuck, this is 110 minutes long. Why?
You bet it is.
Why? Why does it go so for like forever and ever?
You bet it is, pal.
No. So this is a no thanks from me. But you may have a different feeling on the Monsters.
Could be the best movie we've watched all month.
Could be the best movie you watched all month.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it could be. So here's what I'll say.
Yeah.
I don't know the Munsters.
Mm-hmm. Me neither.
I know it's a comedy show, and I have to assume that a lot of what this movie is doing is from that. Like, was Herman Munster a stand-up comic?
Don't know if he was anything.
That made like dad jokes and would go.
I'm glad that Discord's blocking out the sounds you're making.
Oh my god. Like his laugh. So like I don't know anything about the Munsters, but I'm assuming like this is how the characters acted in some way. In some way. Like this is obviously exaggerated, but I mean, yeah, this movie's is not good. And I didn't enjoy watching it. But
you you enjoyed watching it?
I did not enjoy watching it.
Okay, interesting. That's not, when I saw your review of more like the Funsters.
I mean,
like...
but well, here's my thing. It's like this is not for me in any way at all. But it's like when I was watching this, I was like, I feel like somebody would be really into this.
Yeah, some people.
Like I don't know who it is. Like, but the only thing is like the Munsters crowd that I feel like would maybe like this is not the Rob Zombie crowd. And like I feel like they don't mash where it's like this movie's not Rob Zombie-ish at all. Like there aren't any fuck-a-doodle doos in this or anything like that.
Not even one.
Not even one, but I don't know, like I do think I do think this is for somebody. Like somebody's going to watch this and be like this is just good-hearted family fun. Jared. And maybe that's all it needs to be. Like there were a couple scenes where I watched and I went, huh. I was like, that's a good bit. Like what you said, like the Gill Man, or like there were a couple things I was like, oh, those are good bits. Like fuck, I watched this last night and I don't even remember now. But there were a couple things I thought were funny, but for everything I thought was funny were like two things that I was like,
oh.
Like, I mean, I liked all the outfits that they wore. Like, I feel like that was something that happened on the TV show. They wore a lot of outfits, but the outfits they would wear, they would sometimes be tied with like singing things, and I was just like, oh, I was like, I don't want that. But yeah, I don't know. My biggest thing is I do fully believe that this is for somebody. I just don't know who it is.
There's this like common thing I saw in reviews of this, like Rob Zombie just clearly loves the characters. He loves the monsters.
Yeah, he might.
He might. I don't know. I didn't care. I don't give a fuck what he thinks. He made this movie.
The monsters or not.
It doesn't matter. He made the movie. It's immaterial if like what his feelings are anymore. It's like, oh, this is the movie. Do I care if he enjoyed loving this? If he loved making this movie so much, it was like his passion project. Does that mean anything when I watch this thing where I'm like, this is really brutal to watch. Like it's not funny. It's like feels slow, goofy. Like there's just times where it completely changes styles too. You're like, okay, that's the zombie thing. But man, I don't know. That Robert, he's made
Robert Zombo.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's like it probably is his passion project, and he probably does love it. I
always assume that every movie is somebody's passion project.
Sure.
Making movies is difficult.
Yeah, sure. And that's what I mean. Is like this is definitely for somebody. I just don't know who that is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I don't know. This isn't like I could see some people being like half a star, not for me, and it's just like yeah, okay, whatever. Like
yeah, I went a 1.5.
Yeah. Well, and see, that's what I mean. Like a 1.5 is like you don't like it, or you don't care, whatever.
Well, 2.
But
so
it's
for
not
me,
an
like
evil
2 stars is just like I don't like. This isn't very good. 1.5 is like this movie actually like was pretty tough to get through. Like where I'm like just actively annoyed by it because again, it is just I don't like this shit. There's like better films that I also don't like at all, and this isn't that either. This is just like nah, get out of here, Robert.
Roberto Zombo.
You know,
Well, I'm glad that we both think it's a Jarrett pick. That's good.
that's good. That's great.
Yeah, it's great.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
We both know what that means, so that's good.
Oh man, so many things to still talk about.
I know, but how are we going to fit a movie in if we don't just stop?
Exactly. And I got to edit this and get it released to the world. Well, next time, folks, we'll pick up where we left off.
Next time we'll talk about the sadness.
We'll talk about the sadness, which I feel like is definitely an RJ pick.
Well, you'll hear some things about the sadness.
Maybe RJ will watch VHS 85 by then.
Probably.
RJ can buckle in, wait for me to talk about ICU, aka Prisoners 2019.
I can't wait for that, and Jarrett's gonna hear all about the Willies again, and Gordy. One of Jarrett's favorite characters, Gordy.
Fucking Gordy, and actually one of the good movies I've watched this month. We'll talk about next time. Super.
Oh, well, we'll see.
That's exciting. Something to look forward to, folks. Well, thank you everyone for another successful quotes Ghoul School, and next week we're talking about Criterions as well. This one though, Under the Volcano. I'm told it's set on the Day of the Dead, so it's kind of thematic, right?
It fucking better be, or else I'm out of here.
Out of here.
You here?
Okay. Well, that's it, folks. Creep it real.
We got you creep it real. We got stray cats to feed. It's dinner time.